Hey, good people. Whew, okay, I've been over here dying for the last minute and a half. Had some seltzer water go down the wrong pipe. So I've been trying to, survive. Like, really over here, eyes watering and everything. Good to see you. Glad we're back. Welcome. What's up, Zenits? Good to see you. What's up, Rug Matt? Good to see you, Death FPS. Welcome. Come on in. Get comfortable. Good to be back. I missed you all. We were off on Tuesday. Tuesday. What I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was distraught. I was distraught on Tuesday, hearing about the killings that happened in Texas. Really messed me up. I think now that I have a daughter, now that I have I'm sad that it took having my own daughter to make me feel this way about things. But I was really I was not in a good place on Tuesday. So we're back. I'm okay. Hope you're okay as well. Hope everyone's, finding a way to cope with the craziness of things that happen. We see it so much. But yeah, Chobani has oat milk. I've had Chobani oat milk. I drink oat milk and almond milk specifically I don't drink normal milk. I don't drink cow's milk. But I do, not because I'm allergic or anything, just not a fan. Just not a fan. But I do drink both of those because I make my own bubble tea or boba tea at home, and it's good. So I have had Chobani's oat milk before. It's pretty good. Hey, what's up, Brazil? I love Brazil. I wanted to come during the Olympics that year. I didn't get to make it. One day I'll make my way down there. Spend my days with my daughters after that. Same thing. Just decided to spend the day with my daughter, spend the evening with my daughter and my wife. It was just really, really somber time. Really, sucks. Things like that have to happen. It's just, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I was in a rough place, but doing okay. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope everyone is ready to learn a little bit. We're gonna be learning a little bit about package management today in Linux. And that's all we're gonna do today. Just package management. We'll spend some time because there are some differences in different distributions. We'll learn how to install things from source. We'll get into the nitty gritty. We'll get some stuff installed. We'll figure out how to make all of this work. We watched Sonic 2. That's something that we're gonna do very soon. Have popcorn. Did some coloring. So we do some outdoor movie nights. We bought if people are looking for something fun to do, during the pandemic, we purchased a inflatable screen off of Amazon. It was like $120. Like, not crazy expensive, with a built-in fan. Like, I'm talking about gigantic. This thing is big. It's got to be 15 feet tall. Got to be. Okay, maybe 12 feet. I'll look it up, but it was like $120. I did have to buy a projector, which projectors are way more expensive than I thought. There are some more affordable options nowadays, but we've gotten our money's worth. So that's what we did a lot of the pandemic, was had a lot of outdoor movies, and we were actually going to watch Sonic 2 on I think this past weekend. We were going to watch Sonic 2, but everyone voted against it, and we ended up watching Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I had seen. Pretty good if you're into the Ghostbusters franchise. Thought it was pretty entertaining. Good way to kind of reboot the franchise. But it was pretty cool. We got a projector as a gift. Yeah, I'm telling you, the outdoor movies. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find something similar. Prices have probably gone up on literally everything. What's up, Sanucci? Good to see you. I don't think I'm logged into Amazon here, so I can't find the actual order because it was a long time ago. But let's see. Inflatable movie screen. Sure, outdoor. Yeah, like I said, it has a built-in fan. So I mean, ours isn't this one, but it's similar to these. It's got a built-in fan. The fan, you don't have to do anything. You just plug the fan in, and it inflates. And it's gigantic, and it's been pretty darn great. And I've spent $150 on way dumber things, for sure. And it's nice to know there's so many options. One day I might get one as backup, because we use ours a lot, and because it was so cheap, I assume these things would be like $500 or $600, but maybe there are ones, but we might have to get a second one just to keep in the basement, just in case ours goes bad, because we use ours a lot. Now that it's nice again, we'll continue to do so. Yeah, Ghostbusters, it really was dope. How's it going? I hope you and your family are doing well. We are doing good. Definitely doing good. I've been looking into the framework laptops you recommended, and I wanted to know your recommendation on the type of build I should get. Good question. Now, it depends on what you're trying to do. They do have, if you haven't seen, Framework laptops are releasing the 12th gen processors. Frame.work. They are releasing laptops with the 12th gen processors. Now, this is a huge change. These are many more cores than what you normally got. But if you are going to order one right now and you can't wait until the 12th gen processors come out, I don't recommend. So personally, I don't think for a laptop of this size, the i5 is, I think, perfect. The i7 only gives you about 7% more performance in most applications, which I don't think is worth the like $300 increase in price. You'll get better battery life with the i5, and again, it does just about everything you want to do. It does have slightly better graphics performance, so if you're going to be playing some games on it, which the new Intel XT graphics are pretty darn good for, like, you know, for an ultrabook graphics, you know, that's great. But I recommend the i5, getting yourself 16 gigs of RAM and whatever SSD you can find. I think for this 12th gen, I'm probably going to I'm probably going to update mine, because just Framework laptop is nice. I don't actually have to upgrade the whole computer. I can actually just upgrade the chip that's inside of it, so I can order a main board. And so I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take my old board and build, I think I'm going to build a mini computer out of it that I can actually use for streaming. I think I'm going to use my Framework as my main laptop. But my recommendation is, again, for battery life and for performance and cost, grab the i5, get yourself 16 gigs of your own RAM, probably. Their prices are pretty good on RAM and SSD, so, you know, compare, see what you got near you. You might be able to get some computer RAM for cheaper, and then get a lot of storage. Like, I prefer a lot of storage on my computer. You know, I like to get at least a terabyte. 2 is great, so that's generally where I spend my money on mine. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think, for 11th gen, I don't think the i7 is worth it, to be honest. But if you're gonna go 12th gen, I have seen some, I haven't dove too deep into it yet, but if you're gonna go 12th gen, it does look like the i7 is worth it. I don't know about battery life though on the 12th gen. I can get about 6.5 to 7 hours out of the Framework, like if I'm doing normal tasks, like keep the backlight around 50%. The screen gets pretty bright, so 50% is pretty good. I can usually get about 6 to 7 hours out of it. I don't know what these new 12th gens are looking like. Today's materials just showed up in camp code. Thank you. I told you I'll make this mistake all the time. So I think what happens is, I think that Google Classroom doesn't do well if you have multiple tabs open. Like, I think your session in your browser, it doesn't work well in between them, and it might, like, even if you click on another one, I think it might not work that way. So let me fix that really quick, because that's very annoying. Like, I know I'm not messing up that bad every single time, and I'm pretty sure it's because I have lots of different tabs open, and it's kind of like YouTube, where like the session that's kind of loaded in can only be one at a time. So let's see. You said it went to camp code. Yes, it did. Let's see if I can easily move this. All right, I'll add it to Camp Cloud. I'll add it to Waddle first, and then I will then I'll delete it from the other one. So create, let's get your slides, material, week 4 slides. Let's see. Courses. Let me get all the information so you have everything you need in there. All right, you should have your slides in place, and then I'm going to add the other two as we get into it, because we're going to be using those links today. I'll move those over into Waddle so that you have them. But thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it, Joey's Bites. I've heard the hinges aren't the sturdiest. So I don't know. It seems super sturdy to me. I can't see where. I don't know. It seems. I don't know what people are looking for. My model is pretty well built. The hinges stay exactly where you put it. Seems pretty stiff. I don't know. Mine seems good. I've heard people. So a lot of the complaints that I've heard, I don't have on mine. Like someone said the screen isn't great. I think this is absolutely one of the best. One of the resolutions is super interesting. I think it's perfect for a laptop of this size. But the screen is like, it's pretty bright, pretty vibrant. Like I said, I had the 16-inch MacBook M1, like the M1 MacBook Pro, the M1 Pro MacBook or whatever, and I would use them back to back, and the screen was perfectly sufficient. I didn't feel like I was lacking at all on the screen. My hinges are good. My keyboard's great. The webcam's really good for a laptop of this caliber. I think the mics are solid. They're not great. But yeah, I mean, I don't have many complaints for an Ultrabook of this size. Yes, I do think something like an XPS 13 would feel better. I still think ultimately, like if you're someone who's cool with Mac, like, I still think the M1 MacBook Air is the sweetest deal at around this price point. But if you're, I'm kind of newly into the renewable game, newly into the reduce as much waste as you can game, and I'm really intrigued by this. Like again, I'm about to upgrade my main board without having to get a whole new laptop, which is pretty crazy. And I'm going to be able to repurpose the main board from this current one into its own little mini computer. I'm actually going to build it into a keyboard, so I'll have kind of a keyboard that's a whole PC kind of built inside of it. So it should be pretty dope. But yeah, it is a really solid laptop. Yes, an XPS 13 or something that's going to have a little bit better build quality. I don't think you'll be upset by what you get here. And again, the customizability and the repairability is second to none, and I do value that. Julian, good to see you. All right, hey there. Would it be nice to see subtitles on your stream? Thank you. But I will look into that. Is that something I can just enable? If it is something I can just enable, I will figure out how to do that. Let me put that in my Notion to-do list really quick so that I do not forget. Enable. Check on enabling subtitles. Thank you. I'll definitely look into that. I think someone brought that up before, and I didn't get a chance to look into it, but it's on my Notion board. I will get to it for sure. All right, so like I said, tonight we are going to be doing, let me grab the link. Package management in Linux. Should be pretty chill. We'll get some stuff installed in different Linux distributions. We'll learn how all of that works and have a good time. But first, I'm not feeling particularly typey today, but we got to do it. Just consistency is key. We'll keep doing it until we hit, I need to hit 80 in front of you all, and we'll get there. Heard you mention Notion. I'm migrating from Notion to Evernote. How do you like it so far? Oh, from Evernote. I did the same thing. I used to be a big Evernote user. I don't dislike Evernote. Notion is just a different animal. It is, I use it for, let me see. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me see if I can switch screens really quick. All right, I'll worry about that later, but it's great. It's great. Try to remind me a little bit later. I might show it to you, but the markdown style editing is super helpful. It's not markdown, but they've got a lot of cool keyboard shortcuts and stuff to kind of get be able to help you write text quickly. I think the ways that you can use the pages, like the database style structure of everything, allows you to create some pretty intricate things if you want to. But I mostly use mine for just organizing my thoughts. Yes, Notion is free. There is a paid version as well. You don't get much. I don't think you get that much for the paid version. I pay for a organization one, and me and my wife kind of share it. And so I just got my wife onto it, and she loves it. She uses it a ton. She's using it for all, like she's kind of moving over to it for a lot of stuff. The only thing that will make it perfect, the only thing that's not perfect about it is you can't write in it. So like I would love to, right now I use a combination of Notion and OneNote because I do use Surface devices. Even if I was using an iPad before, I still use OneNote to note things, and then I just upload them as a PDF into Notion when I need to. But Notion's sick. It is sick. It's pretty good. Everyone keeps talking about Obsidian. Everybody keeps talking about it. It seems very similar, but Notion's been so good to me that I have no reason to check it out. But I think I'm gonna give it a go because so many people have brought it up. I think I'm gonna give it a go. Antivirus, I don't really use antivirus. And maybe saying that is a problem. Maybe that's gonna open up some attacks for me, but I don't really use antivirus. When I did, I would just use something like Malwarebytes. So I'll use more so malware programs. Yeah, I used to use Malwarebytes a lot, but I haven't used antivirus in a long time. If I were to get, the way that I use computers now, if I were to get a virus or something, I would just blow away my whole OS and reinstall it. So like, yeah, I mean, not really into one. Haven't used antivirus in a pretty long time. Work stand up the other day and they were talking about some stuff from last class. Dope. Go Terraform was like, wait a second, I know this stuff kind of. Dope. Exactly. That's one of the first best feelings. Like now it's like people are saying the words and you're like, I've heard that before. I don't exactly know what everything is, but like I've heard these things, and you start to get involved in the conversation and more interested in the conversation, and you start to fill in stuff. So you probably heard some stuff that when we do go over it in class, you're like, like that's what they're doing at work. That's what we were doing here. And it starts to all kind of connect over time. Oh, pass the wife test. That's all you needed to hear. Yes, it did in fact pass the wife test. It is something that she uses a lot. We've kind of made a whole, she's helping me scrum out all of my stuff. She got her Scrum Master cert, and we've been kind of going through and building some stuff and trying to make some stuff happen. So yeah. All right, so let's do this real quick and let's get started just so we have enough time. I think we'll have more than enough time, but let's see. Like I said, I'm not feeling particularly typey today, which is not really a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. But let's go. I'm going to go for 100% first. Let's see if we can start getting some, nope. See, even when I'm on it, I get excited and then I mess up. And then I messed up again and I got real sad at the end, and then I kind of gave up. So bad first go. Let's give it another go because, oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. Let me put my fingers in the right place and let's go very slow first. I'm getting antsy. You know, sometimes you just got to get in the zone. You got to get in the zone and you got to just feel it. You got to feel the rhythm. You got to feel the rhyme. You got to get on up because it's bobsled time. Cool runnings. 76. Okay, so that's about the best that I've ever done here. You know, we haven't done 80 live yet. That was me slowing it down, going real slow. I'm gonna try to go real slow again, but a tiny bit faster so I can get into the 80 on camera while recording. All right, and you know, you just, like I said, feel the rhythm. Oh, I didn't feel the rhyme that time. I didn't get on up. I didn't bobsled time. It's all right. We got 76. We're good enough. That makes me feel good. But I'm telling y'all, I think I got like an 88 the other day. I'm getting close to getting my first 90. Then we'll only be 10 away. We get that first 90. We're consistently in the high 80s, mid to high 80s. And then one day when I'm feeling good, I'll break that 100 mark. And then we'll get there consistently. Like my goal is to be high 90s consistently and be able to break 100 every now and then when I'm feeling great. And then I will stop my pursuit of greatness, and then I'll just work on being more accurate. That'll probably make me faster anyway, but 100's where I want to get to. And we're making it. We're making it. I'm over halfway there. I've made over 50% progress on the way there. All right, slideshow. Let's do it. Waddle, Foundations in Linux. Day 4 of 7. Today, installing packages. We're not managing processes today, but installing packages, package management, and installing software from source. This has been moved into its own day. I cannot edit it because I'm not logged into this computer, but all good. No problem. So, Linux comes out of the box with lots of tools and applications to help you get stuff done. All right, it's a computer, okay? It's an operating system, kind of. But it has a lot of tools already built in to help you get stuff done. But that isn't enough, okay? Some of the best part about a computer is you can install and access the programs that you need to do what it is that you need to do. How do we install new software on a Linux machine? Particularly, how do we get new software installed on a system where we only have the command line available to us? Well, it's all about packages. Packages, for the most part, are how we are going to be getting things installed. So what are they? A lot of words here. We got a shiny box here, but a package consists of a collection of files that perform a task. I think every single time I read this, I tell myself I'm going to change this. For example, the popular image editing program GIMP distributes through a package. So all a package is all of the files and possibly executables necessary to allow a complete application to be installed and run on a machine. Okay. Packages offer a small file that provides important metadata about the program. So it's got a little bits of information about the data that exists inside to help you do some cool stuff. What does all that mean? It is just an archive that contains all of the files for an application, as well as any additional information to get it running on your system. So it's a collection of files delivered to your computer to help an application be installed and run. All right, so if we're gonna be using packages, the thing that we have a tool available to us that's gonna help us be able to manage them easily. And those are package managers. And you have likely run into one of these over the years, but package managers, manage them packages. A package manager helps you easily, that's the key word, it helps you pretty easily install, upgrade, configure, and remove packages on a system. So it's not all about the installation. We need to be able to manage those things. We need to be able to install, upgrade when there's patches and new features added, and easily remove packages from a system. And package managers are a piece of software that are going to help us do that. In Linux, generally, we're going to have distro-based packaging, and there's been a lot of tools that are trying to disrupt this as of late, and we'll talk about that. But due to distribution-specific setup and collection of packages, distros of different lineages have different package managers. So generally, that big chart we looked at on the first night of the different Linux distributions and the families that they kind of come from, generally, distributions that are following the same lineage are going to use the same package manager. So for the most part, Yum-based distributions, or Red Hat-based distributions, use the Yum package manager now, something called DNF, but we'll learn about that in a little bit. Historically, tools that have come from, or distributions that have come from a Debian-based lineage will use something called Apt or Dpkg, or both really. We'll learn about that as well. And there are some other ones. There's Pacman, there's Yowart, there's a ton of them we'll discuss. And that's one of the hardest parts about this. I meet a lot of people who have learned a little bit of Linux, dove in with a single distribution, and have a lot of trouble when moving from one distribution to the other, because they don't realize the package management is different when you head to another one. So we're gonna hop right into it. I'm gonna get some stuff installed, so you can follow along today. If you don't have a VM, if you don't have any VMs or anything installed, or you don't know how to use a VM, you can hop in pretty quickly with who's the cloud provider Linode. Man, long days, but if you do exclamation point Linode, you can get a free account. They're not sponsors of this channel. They gave me a link with credits when they were sponsors of this channel. That was a long time ago, and it appears to still work. I'm going to spin up some Linode instances so that we can operate on more than one Linux distribution. Doing it on one is all you need. You don't really need to do all of them. I want you to understand the concepts, but you just do it on the one that applies to you. But I'm going to spin up one on each of these. So Debian. Okay, so Debian-based distributions. This is Debian. Think Ubuntu, Pop! OS, Mint, Kali Linux. These are all different Linux distributions that are pretty popular. They are Debian-based. They come from the Debian lineage. And these use Dpkg and Apt to be able to install packages easily. So Dpkg is Debian package, and Apt or Apt is advanced package tool. All right, and let's figure out how we're gonna use those. Let me first go ahead to Linode, and let me spin up two. I spelled Linode very wrong there. I think this is the credit thing maybe, but I don't need it. I just need to log in. Not .io. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna spin up. I have this Waddle one. This Waddle one that we spun up is. I'll leave this up. We can install stuff on there. This one is Ubuntu based, I believe. So I'm gonna get logged into. I'm gonna get logged into this one. Let me copy this, or SSH access. Here's the command right here. So let me go ahead and get logged in here. And I'll do it on, since this is doing Linux stuff, I'll do it in Linux. So I'm gonna get logged in over here. And it should tell me, yes, this is Ubuntu 22.04. So I have my Ubuntu instance here. Let me delete this. Can you name these? Rename tab. Perfect. I'm just gonna put Ubuntu in all caps. Ubuntu. I spelled that wrong, but easily identifiable, super helpful. Now I'm gonna spin up a Red Hat based distribution for myself. So Linode, I'm gonna create a brand new one. I will do CentOS. I don't know the changes between CentOS 8 and 9, so I'm gonna check it out. I have no idea, zero idea about the changes. I wonder if they have a whole new, whatever. We'll just do CentOS 9. So CentOS is a Red Hat based distribution. I'll put it in Atlanta, or actually I'll put it in New Jersey again, because that's the closest. I want a small one, so I'll go to shared and I'll choose a nanode. I'll leave it here. I'll call this Red Hat based Waddle, because you can call it whatever you want. That'll help me understand what it is. I'll give it the same root password, because, you know, I do what I do. And I'm going to create it here. And I'll get logged in. All right, still spinning up. Let me give it a few to get in, get comfortable. Booting, that's nice. I do need to check out, I don't think Linode has any, but I think DigitalOcean, if anyone's like looking for a cloud provider to use that's not Amazon, because you don't want to learn all that stuff, AWS or Azure, I think DigitalOcean just came out with Functions. Excuse me. DigitalOcean Functions, which is like a serverless, the serverless offering, which seems pretty cool. I'm definitely going to be looking into that, because I bet it's easier to use. I bet it's easier to get something up and running than with AWS. Might be a game changer for getting easy, like real simple applications up and running quickly. All right, so I have this Red Hat based one, SSH access. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to go over to my terminal, and I'm going to get logged in. And I'll change this. I'll give it a color. I'll make it red, because it's going to be Red Hat based. And I'll rename it CentOS. And actually, yeah, CentOS. And I'll put yum over here, so you know which one is which. And when I'm in Ubuntu, I'll give that a new color. Orange and red are too close to each other. I'll make this blue. And I'll rename this to Ubuntu. And I'm going to call this Dpkg App, just so you know which tool we're using when we're in each one. All right, so 2 distributions all set up. So this is what you're going to use in a Debian based distribution. You are going to use Dpkg or apt to do the things you need to do. Most of the time, you are going to be using Dpkg though, not apt. I mean, sorry, most of the time you're going to be using apt and not Dpkg. What's the difference between the two? Dpkg or Debian package will install and uninstall .deb packages. So the file type for a package for Debian, for the Debian installer is .deb. Apt, it'll actually use Dpkg underneath the hood to do some of the things that it needs to do, as well as determine how to handle dependencies. You might have been dealing with some tech stuff and you might keep hearing the term dependencies. What in the world is a dependency? Well, that is dependencies are applications or tools that a program needs that it depends on to be able to run. So I might build a tool or an application, but I might need a flurry of other applications installed on the system for my application to work. So those will be dependencies of my program. And so Dpkg will not be able to easily handle that for you. Like if you try to install something that needs other programs installed, Dpkg doesn't handle that very well. But apt does. Apt is able to handle those dependencies and get everything set up just fine. How come I can't connect using SSH? I do have OpenSSH client enabled on Windows using WSL2. What is the error it's giving you? What's the, are you typing in the right password? Or is it just timing out? What's the error? You can also just use, SSH is now native to, both, PowerShell and command prompt. So you can just use it there. Connection timed out. That usually means you might not be grabbing the right IP address. So if you're using Linode, and you created your own, you need to grab, does it give you an internal IP address? It does not. Find the one that says SSH access. So connection timed out, generally means you don't have a network path out to, your stuff. SSH username at IP. I'm assuming, so it's right, the username should be root and the IP address should be whatever IP address is listed next to your Linode instance. Like I said, you can just grab, they have this SSH Access tab. Like if you click into your Linode instance that you want to get into, they have one that kind of copies the command as it should be. Right here, but that connection timeout means generally means it can't reach whatever that IP is that you put after the @ symbol. It generally means it can't hit that. It can't find that. All right, so before we start doing anything with apt, let me talk about Yum really quick. Let me just introduce you to it. Cool. So all using VirtualBox. So in VirtualBox, if you're using VirtualBox and you have fresh Ubuntu server installed, you don't need to SSH into it. You're probably already in it. As long as you just ran the VirtualBox, that you can use that machine for all the things that we're about to do. You don't need to SSH anywhere. I just wanted to SSH somewhere from my system. Now you can enable SSH if you want and SSH into the box, but I think you're okay. You don't need to do anything else. So for Red Hat based distributions, if you're someone using Red Hat, and remember, and especially in the US, a lot of enterprise systems, a lot of servers are running Red Hat based distributions like CentOS, and that's the one that I just spun up here. But they use the package manager here is called Yum, which stands for Yellow Dog Updater Modified. I never knew that until the first time I ran this course. I've been using Yum for years, never heard this in my life. So you're not expected to know this. I just want to throw it in there so you did know what it was, but Yum is going to be what you're going to be using. There is something newer, DNF, which is Danfield Yum. Great. That doesn't make any sense to me either. I didn't do too much research on it at all. But I'm pretty sure you can still use both, and I actually think that yum on newer installations is just aliased as to DNF. But the difference is DNF has better dependency management and memory optimization, as well as Python 3 support. So kind of the same thing that we talked about with Dpkg and Apt. Some of that dependency management is better here. So just good to know about them. Yeah, good to know about them. Now, the reason I wanted to tell you about them both, yes, very finicky about networking. So you don't, so I wouldn't, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't recommend SSHing into it. It is possible to do so, but it's super weird if you don't have the right, if you don't have the networks set up properly. So you don't even need to SSH into it because you have the screen right there. All right. The first thing that you want to do though, when you get a new system, let's talk about this because I don't think I have slides for this, and this is something that's important. The first thing that you should always do, you get a new server, you get it set up, you're good to go. You want to do a couple of things. Well, one thing really. The first thing here, when I log into the Ubuntu system, it says, hey, there are 14 updates that can be applied immediately. Yeah, even though it's bridged. Yeah, so when it's bridged, yeah, it's networking. We're gonna get to some Linux networking stuff. Networking, like I said, is one of the most confusing pieces of everything to me. But yeah, that I'll be able to explain why that is when we get there. Yeah, I have 14 updates that can be applied. System restart required, probably to apply the updates that I need. Normally what you would want to do is to make sure a system is up to date on Debian-based distributions using Apt. There are two things that you got to do to be able to get a system updated. The first thing is an Apt update. Okay? And this doesn't do what you probably feel like it does. When you do the Apt update, we're going to look at the man command for this. But it does not update all of the packages that are available on the system. We're going to talk a little bit about repositories, and we're going to talk about these different things. But what it does is it goes out and updates the database of things that it has access to, things that it has available to it. And you can see after I run it, it goes off to a bunch of places and it gets some information. And then at the end, it says 16 packages can be upgraded. And you might be saying, what in the world? Like, what do we just run an update for? This is one of the most confusing things between the two package managers. This is something I see all the time. This update is different from when I do an update over on the Yum side, and we're about to do that. But after I update these things, I can run an Apt Upgrade. Okay, this will actually upgrade the actual packages that have upgrades available. So Apt will go off and go to these repositories. So these repositories are simply places, they're simply places that have information and where the packages are held that the package manager is going to use. So this package manager has kind of coded inside of it. It has a bunch of places to go look for where these packages might exist, so that you don't have to know where on the internet to grab them from. It's got some places. It's got some places coded into it that it knows where to look for packages. And when you run that apt update, it goes off to those different places. And rather than installing new versions of things, it's getting information about, hey, you have this version installed, and it looks like here at this location, there's newer packages available for you to access and to grab when you're ready. And so that's what the first command does. That's what the update does. It updates that database. It updates, the package manager's understanding of what's there, what's available for you to use. And then the actual upgrade command is actually where it goes off and it gets those actual upgraded packages and installs them on your system. So it says, hey, I want to go ahead and upgrade all of these things. I found upgrades for all of these things. You can see we didn't tell it any packages in particular to upgrade. When we run that upgrade, it's going to try to upgrade everything that has something new inside of it. So we talked about package managers being a thing that helps us manage packages, configure and manage packages, as well as install. And this is part of that management. So I'm going to type in a big Y to go ahead and get those things installed and let that run. So 2 steps there. An update first, then an upgrade. So they can be done separately. Update, get all the information about what's available for me to install. Upgrade, actually install what's available for me to install. For DevOps, WSL, it's okay, or is it better Linux native machine? So WSL is completely fine. WSL2 isn't perfect, but it is pretty close to being perfect. It's pretty close to being a native Linux experience. So it'll work just fine. Yeah, it'll work just fine as long as you understand how WSL and Windows are connected. As long as you understand, like, you know, the how to operate between them, it should be fine. Works well. I've used it plenty for all of my stuff, so yeah, completely fine for you to use it. All right, so this is gonna go off and it's gonna update a bunch of stuff on CentOS or Red Hat based distributions. You have the yum command, and let's look at that really quick. Man, yum. Oh yeah, redirecting to DNF command reference. So this is showing you that it is now using DNF instead of yum, but you can still type in yum and it'll just act as an alias and do this. But bunch of stuff here, many of the same commands, but we are gonna do a yum update. And again, you can do a yum update or you can do a DNF update. Again, yum out of habit. A lot of guides you go to will say yum. But this, on the other hand, is going to actually install the upgrades that you have available to you. It goes through, it goes off to those repositories it has. It gets all the updates for packages that it has. It tells you what new version is going to be installed. And then it asks you if you would like to install these 3 packages and upgrade these 60. So install 3 and upgrade 64. And I'm going to say, yep, I want to go ahead and do that. And it's going to go through and it's going to install. And so this is generally something you want to do when you first update a system. And so this one's a new kernel. A new kernel for Linux was released recently. So this is saying, hey, the currently running kernel version, which is not expected kernel version, so expects one that's updated. So 5.15.027, it's expecting 5.15.033. So I've got to restart for it to work. And it's not going to do it. It's just going to say, hey, you should do it to make it work. Sometimes you'll get stuff like this where the packages that are being installed will ask you for input. Okay, and so whichever should we start, I'm just going to click OK because I don't really know. I wasn't paying attention to what was being installed. I'm going to leave everything as default and hit tab and go to OK. No VM guests are running, no user sessions. Cool. And then I'm actually going to restart this just because it specified one might be helpful. And so now I'm going to teach you a new command. And what you can do is you can do reboot now. Okay, I'm root already, so you might need to do a sudo. All the commands that we've done so far, you might need to put a sudo in front of it to escalate your privileges to the admin users. But I'm going to do a reboot now. And you can see here, it closed me out of it, and the server is going to go ahead and reboot, and we'll come back to that later. Looks like everything is done over here. Now, if I run another yum update, what should happen? It says, hey, there's nothing to do. I've gone off, I've checked what packages you have available. I've checked what things need updating, and you are already up to date. And so I don't need to do any updates. So that's super nice. You generally want to keep your system up to date and you know, make sure everything's good to go. If you run Oracle Linux in the Oracle Cloud, pay for Oracle support on-prem, you get access to their EUK kernel, which can be updated while running. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. People are pretty anti-Oracle Linux or Oracle anything because it's pretty expensive. Yeah, I've actually never used Oracle Linux, so that's very interesting. They acquired Kspice years ago, and that's where they got the tech from. Interesting. Anti? I mean, yeah. People don't like Oracle. I understand why people don't like Oracle database stuff. First off, it's if you all knew how much Oracle's getting over on companies by charging astronomical amounts for their database product. It's pretty crazy. Yes, Oracle doesn't have customers; they have hostages. And so I understand that it's not that simple. And Oracle, I don't think Oracle's a bad company at all. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty. It doesn't have the greatest reputation from engineers. one rich a-hole called Larry Ellison. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I think Oracle is done. I actually think Oracle's actually doing a pretty solid job of figuring out their way out of. I think they're doing a pretty good job of finding their way out of the misconceptions of old. I think they're pulling a Microsoft. I think they're trying to pull a Microsoft. Like Microsoft's still big. They're still going to have negative connotations about a lot of stuff. But Microsoft's done a pretty amazing job over the last 6 years of like pulling themselves out of the old school Microsoft hole. Yeah, exactly. I think Oracle's doing a pretty solid job of doing so. I've seen them at a lot of conferences and things, and like the outlook, the way they present themselves, the things that they're doing, I think are pretty cool. I think they're going to continue to be gigantic and very, very rich. But when it comes to Oracle Linux and Oracle databases, I don't know. People are still up. I've heard more and more people working on Oracle Cloud though, so I think their cloud product is probably bringing them in some good money. But yeah, they were at KubeCon last week and they're looking to get much on the open source of Kubernetes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of their Kubernetes stuff. Like, yeah, I saw them at AWS reInvent like 3 years ago maybe, and like their booth was gigantic. And actually talking to them and actually going through and seeing what they had to offer, I didn't know about most of those things, and I was like, this is pretty cool place. So they're working on it. Is it true that blockchains run in the cloud? Yeah. I mean, kinda. Kinda. Yes and no. Blockchains also run everywhere on your computer or my computer. But yeah, the cloud is all the cloud is network. It's distributed network computers. So yes, for sure. Are NFTs worth it? Okay, I'm not. So I'm not the Web3 person. Not gonna lie to y'all. I've dove into Web3. I'm fairly knowledgeable about Web3, but I'm also not someone when it comes to investing, and when it comes to investments, even before Web3, even before blockchain, the stock market to me is risky. To me, I understand you can make money off of it. I understand, I do have investments and things like that, but like that's not my preferred cup of tea to dive into and to learn about. Yes, there are other ways to make money. I know everyone likes to make you think that the stock market's the only way to make money. There are a lot of ways to make money, and I would prefer not to. I like my money. I like my money, and I want to do the things I want to do with my money without having to worry about everyone else affecting my money. And so yeah, I mean, are NFTs worth it? For some people who made a bunch of money, absolutely. For a bunch of people who got ripped off for NFTs, and no, it's just like, to me, they're not worth it. I'm not gonna risk the NFT game. It's like, oh yeah, bro, like I made $5,000, doing this. Sure. I just think all these things, many more people are gonna lose money than make money. In the end, and I'm too afraid to ride the waves personally. But dive into it. Learn about it. Learn about it. Make a good decision about what you want to do. Figure out how much money you want to be able to play with. Because right now, until it's regulated, you're gambling. You're gambling. We're watching the debacle. Like, so I think Web3. I think crypto is around to stay. I know people are scared because of the recent collapse of Luna and all that. Like, I don't think crypto's going anywhere. I just think it's going to go through a couple iterations of changes. It's going to go through some things. Like, people are going to lose money. People have made tons of money. People are going to lose money. But I do think it'll be a viable method for transactions, I do think it's around to stay. Same NFTs. I think NFTs are going to be worth it. I need to see everything stabilize a little bit more before I get into it. Right now it's just too wild. It's too wild. So I have some NFTs. I got some cheap NFTs. I'll drop $100 here, $50 here, stuff like that. But I'm just talking about people. I know people with $10,000 NFTs, and I'm like, ooh, too rich for my blood. Maybe I'm just a broke boy, but too rich for my blood. On-prem means on premises. Okay, good. It's a great question. On premises, it just means a system that a company has that is, it doesn't really need to be on their own premises, but generally it's, at their company inside of some type of, in a space in the building that's got some power run to it and it's networked right in the building that they have physical access to go see. I wait until the Kingmakers on the Hollywood adopt NFTs to do anything there. Yeah. I mean, not against that. I'm really not against them for my own personal money. I'm not. I'm also not someone. So my finances outlook. I'm also not someone who's trying to maximize how much I make and everything that I do. Some people just oh yeah, you don't do this because you can put your money into this and blah blah. I'm just not. I just don't care about money that much to spend all of my time trying to maximize in every place of my life. Hey, can I take care of my family and me? Can I do the things that I want to do? That's the only goal. Once I'm there, I'll waste all this. I don't care about. I don't care. I don't care about money. I really don't. Don't care about money. I care about what it can do what experiences it can create for you. So so I must care about it, but I don't need to maximize it. If you're gonna do it for fun and be okay with losing what you put in. I agree. So look, let me tell y'all, I was all in on I was super excited about the whole all the GameStop and all that. That was fun. I played there and I made some money there, but I played there because it was fun. I just want to be a part of the movement. It was exciting. Everyone was talking big game about how things were gonna topple, blah blah blah. It was fun to be a part of, but hey, people lost a ton. People lost a lot. It is what it is. So just be careful with it. Do your research. Just do your research. Did anyone see the new images for the new Winnie the Pooh horror film? No, but that sounds terrifying. That sounds absolutely terrifying. All right, so this should be back up. So I'll try to log in again. Hopefully, my IP address stayed the same. Cool, I'm back in. If I should do an apt update or upgrade again, there should be nothing to upgrade. So that's your first, that's the first thing. Updates and upgrades can be done easily through your package manager, and it'll manage all the packages that are installed in your system that were installed via a package manager. If you install something from source that we're gonna learn about later, it does not necessarily mean that it will be available to manage through your package manager. Sometimes it can be the case though. All right, so now that we learned about updates, let's learn about how to use Dpkg and apt to get some stuff installed. Well, first things first, let's go ahead and download a deb so that we can get something installed via Dpkg. This is not something that people normally do, if I'm 100% honest with you. A lot of people don't install debs by hand. They do install debs via desktop sources. So if I were to install Ubuntu desktop Linux and I were to go to install Google Chrome, when I go to Google Chrome's website and they give me a download, they're going to provide to me a .deb, and Ubuntu has some graphical installers to be able to get that installed in your system. But you can install it manually using the command line. So let's download this. This is the tree command. Yes, we'll talk about snaps. That's what we were talking about earlier. There are a couple of package managers that are hoping to be more cross-platform. There's Flatpak. There's a bunch of other stuff, App Image. There's a bunch of ways to do it that no one's really taken off with yet, but we need to learn about this because generally things like Snap won't be available on your Linux server. But we will talk about Snap tonight. So I'm going to download this. This is probably an old version because this was for Ubuntu 20.04. Let's see if we can get a newer one. Tree is a pretty dope tool that right now I can show you that we don't have installed. Well, actually, I don't know if we have it installed. Nope, we don't have tree installed there, and we don't have tree installed there. So let's see how to use Dpkg to do this. So there's a deb file here, but there's a newer version, AMD64. Let me give you an updated link. I should have done that. But I could take this. It should work. I want to see if there's an easy way here. Tree, see also. What's the newest version? I'm gonna go. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go all the way back here because now we're on Ubuntu 22.04, and I'm gonna look for tree up here. There's a UI for app called Aptitude. Yes, and so I used to think it's my most used package manager. Makes sense, Joey Bites. I actually used to think Apt was called Aptitude. A lot of people do. Yes, Aptitude is dope. I agree. All right, so I typed in tree. I'm gonna go all the way down. I'll give you this link as soon as I find it. 22, and I don't need the dev files. Let's do dev. That's fine. Oh, that's not what I want. I want. They don't just have deb tree, package dependency graph. I don't even remember. Hold on. Tree. Let's see. Displays an indented directory tree. This is the one I want. Let's do this. This is what I want. So I'll share this with you. See, and it can be hard to find packages sometimes. We'll talk about where to go to find packages. This is one website that you can go to. Ubuntu.pkgs.packages.org is a place that you can go to get packages if you want. I don't go here often because I usually don't install things this way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this package file right here. And so, there's an official one that we can grab. This is the alternative. This is a mirror, I think. Downloaded by, let me see. Let me scroll down, make sure I'm not missing anything. Also, okay. So I'm going to grab this right here, and I'm going to copy this link address. Let me make sure it's where I want to go. Oh, actually, it's not. Let me go back here. Where's the download button? For the actual Dpkg. Usually you can get it from here. And maybe I'm tripping. Download. Oh, here we go. Binary package. This is what I want. All right, and so it's in. I could just grab it. It's already part of Apt. You don't need to install it this way. I'm just trying to get the package because I want to install it manually because we want to know how to do it manually. And so this might be a way that maybe you work somewhere that's doing a lot on Ubuntu Linux, and they might build cool tools that don't get put into a package manager like this that have to be installed, and they'll package them up into a .deb package for you to install. So I think this is the URL that we want. If it's the right one, yeah, it's the one that we want. So I'll give this to you. And so you can see it's the download. It's the URL for the binary package that's right here. And so we're going to download it from the command line. And I'll show you how to do that. There are two ways to do it from the command line. The first command that's easiest is called wget. It's not always installed on a Linux system by default. It looks like it is installed on Ubuntu by default. Is it installed on Yum by default? Okay, it's not on Yum, but it is on Ubuntu by default. So we can just use wget. Curl is the other option. Curl will be installed on your system. Actually, let's do curl because curl will be installed. The way that you do it is you're going to do curl -o. So -o is going to be the output file. So it'll be the name of the file. The name of the file, once you download it, what do you want it to be saved as? So just so we know, I'm going to type in tree.deb. Okay, and do a space. And then you paste in the URL. So curl-o tree.deb. And so I could give it the actual name here, but I don't want to. I just want to call it tree.deb so it's easy. And I'm going to hit enter and we'll get some information. Looks like we can see the download. FYPME, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. So it downloads. We can do an LS or an LL. Well, I do an LL. Look at this tree.deb file. That's right here. All right, easy, okay? So once we have the file onto the system, that's the first part. If you're going to install using Dpkg, you're going to need the deb file to get it installed. You need to download it first. wget or curl. Curl is going to be installed, and yes, you can use yum install wget, and that'll be your first. Let's do that because that'll be your first lesson in installing something via yum. It's yum, then install, and then the name of the package that you would like to install. We'll talk about how you find the name of that package later. If it does find it, it'll give you some information about it. It'll give you the version, and then I'm gonna say, yep, that looks good to me. That looks like the package I want to install, and I'll do a Y, and just like that, we have it installed. And before, when I typed in wget, it didn't work, but if I do it now, I get the help page saying, hey, I'm missing the thing that you want me to wget. Okay, so just that easy. We use our package manager to get something installed. And so if you use something like Brew on a Mac, you're used to using a package manager. That is a package manager. If you use Choco for Windows or Winget for Windows, you've used a package manager. Absolutely, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. That's what I'm here for. All right, so we do have this file downloaded now. We've got a file available and ready to be installed. And the way that you do it is the dpkg-i for install, and then the name of the package. So the command that you're gonna issue is dpkg, which is gonna call the Debian package command. The -i is a flag you're gonna pass in, which will tell it that you wanna install the package that's coming next. And then package.deb is the parameter that tells it what file to access to be able to install what it needs. And so we already saw that the tree command did not work by default. And yes, I could have installed this with apt, but I'm gonna install it with this deb file. So dpkg, and when you type it in, it'll give you a little bit of information about, did I spell it wrong again? Is that twice in a row? Oh no, I spelled it right. Error, need action option. So I need to tell it what to do, okay? And so you can always do, man dpkg if you want to figure those things out, a package manager for Debian, and it'll give you that information. We're gonna use the -i. Let's find it here, just, so you can see it. -i or --install, either one. Sorry, got here late, but tree just showing directory/folder structure. Yeah, so the tree command will show you an indented list of the directory structure. And so I just picked a tool to install. Yes, you can install it easily via apt, but we're just learning how to install things using the dpkg package manager. So we've downloaded the .deb file that you can get here, I think. Yeah, right there. And we're just gonna install it that way. All right, so we're gonna do dpkg. Let's actually clear the page. dpkg-i, and we called it tree.deb. And look at that, selecting previously selected package tree, reading database. So it's gonna take that package, it's gonna open it up, here's where it opens it up, preparing to unpack tree.deb, unpacked it, set it up, processing triggers for ManDB. ManDB is that manual database. So whenever you type in man, that's a big database that's got the information. So it's processing triggers for that. So it's setting it up, and it is putting some information in a man page. And now if we go man tree, we get some information about how to use tree. All right, bunch of information there. And then if we type in tree now, look at that, it works. Before, we got a command not found, okay? Now, we are actually getting information. We're getting a visual representation of the files and directories that we have here. So remember, we created the blue directory, and inside of it has this file. Green directory, inside of it has these files. So with this tree command, we're able to easily get a visual overview of the directories that we're in. So 5 directories, 11 files. So I did a tree command on the root user's home directory, and this is what it looks like. But the important part here is not that at all. We don't really care about the tree command. What we do care about is the .deb, and we use the dpkg program to install with that. So every time we save a binary, we have to use a .deb extension. Not quite. No. Executable binaries, you can just install as whatever they are, and you'll be able to actually execute them. The extension actually doesn't matter quite that much. But for binaries that are supposed to be Debian packages, They just need to be .deb extensions. Everything else, just install it as it is, and you should be able to run it just fine. But if it's supposed to be a Debian package, the .deb extension should help. I think it'll install. I don't think you need to call it a .deb. That's just what they are called. I think it might still work without it, but we can test that in a second. So I can also remove a package using the Debian package manager. Okay, so Dpkg-R for remove app. And so Dpkg again, just so you can see the -R. Maybe it has some unintended consequences. Who knows? You might want to check this out sometimes. But remove an installed package. This removes everything except conf files, so config files, and other data cleaned up by post rm script, which may avoid having to reconfigure the package if it is reinstalled later. So this is telling you basically that, hey, I'm going to delete most of this stuff, but I'm going to leave config files in place. This means that if you should install this later, the config files will still be there and you won't have to reconfigure it, which might be nice. Or maybe the exact opposite of why you're trying to remove this. I've run into this before where we got something wrong, we configured something wrong, and we don't know how to get back to default. So we wanted to blow it away and bring it back. And when we removed it and installed it, it still had all the original settings. That's because of stuff like this. If there's no Debian conf files controlled nor Debian post rm script, this command is equivalent to calling --purge, and it gives you some other information there. We don't really care about that right now. All we care about is getting it removed. So we're going to do Dpkg-R for remove, and then our app is called tree. And when we do it, it says very quickly, it does this. It removes tree, processing triggers for man-db. If I go man and I go tree, no more manual entry for tree. So it removed it just that fast, super easy. Just had an interview with a small startup, very tough, but I didn't get nervous and knew the answers. Proud of myself. Dope. Congrats. That's awesome. That really makes me happy to hear. Like, I love, that's always the best. It's always the best, especially when the interview is tough. Like you don't always want a tough interview, but it is nice leaving the interview and feeling like knowing it was tough and feeling like you did a good job in it. It definitely is a huge confidence boost. Let us know if you like the company. Let us know. Hopefully they offer you the position. Hopefully you don't have to go through any more rounds, but that's pretty dope. All right, so -R will install it, and again, I can get it installed again. Let's see if I can rename the file. I'm going to move. Remember how we rename files in Linux? There's no rename command. The way that you do it is you move the file. So I'm going to move tree.deb to just tree. I'm going to move to just tree. And then I'm going to do a Dpkg-I to reinstall it. We just removed it. I want to install it again, but I want to see if the file extension matters. And I'll do I, and it doesn't really care. It still installs it just fine. So, generally the file extension, especially from the command line, doesn't matter quite as much. There are definitely times where it does matter, but usually for executables and things, it doesn't really matter. It'll handle it accordingly. So cool. And now I should have tree available to me again, just like that. So very easy to get things installed, very easy to remove things as well. So that's Dpkg. That's how you do some basics with Dpkg. But now using apt. So if I want to use apt to install things instead, I can do apt install package name. So similar, but instead of doing a -I, we're actually going to type in the install command. You might see some things that, some tutorials and stuff that say apt get instead of apt, okay? I spelled that wrong. Might say something like this, apt get. This is similar, okay? I actually think apt get is older. Let me see. I actually think apt get is older than apt. I believe. Let's see. Yeah, so if you see apt get, they're pretty interchangeable here. I think that apt gives you some extra visual cues and things too, because it's a little bit newer. A couple things to make things more interactive at certain times as well. But they work very similarly, and they have mostly the same commands as well. So if you come across some guides that are using apt-get, don't be afraid. It's fine, and you can probably just switch apt to apt-get, or you can just use apt-get, and it's probably fine. But apt install package name. Okay, that's how you get what you need. So I'm gonna remove tree really quick. So I'll remove tree. I'll show you that tree does not exist on our system. Man, tree doesn't work. But if I do apt install tree, you got to spell it correctly. Invalid operation install. Correct. That is absolutely an incorrect operation. If I do this, take a look. It says reading package list, and I actually don't know why it's going so slow. I think I broke everything just now. But it's reading package list, and it says, 20%. Let's see if it finishes, because this is normally a problem. I think I lost connection to this server. So install it. That's weird. This might be a problem that we have to troubleshoot. Okay. Took a while. But what it does, we're going to talk about those repositories, like I said. What it did is it looked through all of the options that it had of where packages exists. Once it found what it needed, it built the dependency tree of things that it might need to install in support of this application. Reading state information, what's installed, what's available, what's going on. Then it says, hey, I'm going to go ahead and install this new package that you asked for that we found. Okay. Then it says, gives you a little summary. 0 upgraded, so it doesn't need to upgrade anything. 1 newly installed, so it's going to actually install this new application, and it's not going to remove anything or upgrade anything. Tells us how big the files are that it's going to grab. Goes off and it grabs them, so that's nice. It tells us how much it fetched and how fast it downloaded it. Then it selects the package, reads the database, and then this part is basically what we already did. This looks very familiar, and this is because Dpkg is used under the hood of apps. So apt uses Dpkg to get stuff installed, but again, it just does extra stuff by going off and getting dependencies and putting together those dependency trees and handling things a little bit better. And so we've seen this. We've done this ourselves. Processing triggers, great. And then it does a little bit more scanning processes, scanning Linux images, and then we get a bunch of extra output. And now, should we do tree? It is now available for us. So we installed it 2 different methods. This way, we didn't have to go off and install a file or download a file. Before, we had to, when we're just using Dpkg and not apt, we had to go off and find the deb file that was necessary. So we found that on this website, which was ubuntu.pkgs.org. We had to find what we needed. We had to download it to the system and then manually install it using Dpkg. Utilizing apt instead, we simply needed to know what the name of the package was that we wanted to install. I assumed it was tree. Didn't have to be tree. It could be something different, and we'll talk about that, but it was tree, and all I had to do to install it was apt install tree. Pretty easy. If you already have it installed and you try to install it again, it'll tell you, hey, tree is already installed at the newest version. If it's not the newest version, it might ask you if you want to upgrade it, but yeah. All right, so that's how you install. And then we do presenter view. That's not what I wanted, but this will work. To remove is just apt remove. Apt remove tree. And this works similarly to Dpkg -r. It says, hey, I'm going to remove this. Do you want me to remove it? Yes. Tells me how much disk space will be freed up, and it goes ahead and it removes it. Again, this looks familiar to you because this is using Dpkg under the hood. And then if I go man tree, it is still no longer available. All right, so Dpkg-i, Dpkg-r, apt install, apt remove. So how do I see if a package is installed and available? How do I know? How do I know what's going on? How do I know if I need to install something or if it's already available for me? You could just type in the command, but dpkg, I can use that with a -L to find out, or I can do apt list installed. So let's look at both of those and let's see how we can use it to see what's going on. So I'm gonna install tree again. So we have it. So we have a package that we're actually looking for. And I'm going to go dpkg -L, and here we go. Obviously very difficult to parse, very difficult to understand, but it's got add user. We did some stuff with that. I'm sure if we get down to user add, we'll have it. But here are all of the tools that it has installed in alphabetical order and the version of it to the right, which is super duper helpful. And so I wonder, this looks like a less style interface. So I wonder if I can search. I sure can. If I want to find out if something's installed, I just do a / and then I type in the name of it and see if I can, it might not be called that. So I'll type in add pattern not found. Sure. Okay. But yeah, so that's that. The tree command is here, and you can go through and see what's available in this list. So again, this is dpkg -L. -L stands for list. So list all of the packages that are installed. So lots of stuff here. All right, so that's -L with dpkg, and apt is apt list. And so list will list you a bunch of stuff, but -- installed shows me only the things that are installed. And now you can see the difference in how these are displayed to you. When I do the list -- installed, it's going to cat out the information to the command line. So it sends it out to standard output and leaves me here to kind of parse it myself. So I don't have a good, easy way of parsing this at the moment. I have to put some commands together, which we're going to learn 2 classes from now, I think, maybe next class, on how to put these things together to start being able to to parse this kind of input. But right now it just spits it out to the command line, so I don't know if it's there. I can use things like, we learned grep a little bit. Maybe I would like to grep for tree if I wanted to see if it did have it installed. And you can see here that we do get some output here, so we can be confident that it is installed on our system. And here is the version that matters. Yeah, so those are the 2 ways: apt list installed, and apt or dpkg -L, which will give you a parsable interface for what you need to see. How do you find what package names are? In this case, I'm not gonna lie to you. This obviously works. This will be helpful if you're on systems where you don't have access to Google, but Googling is the best way. Like, how do I install this package on the internet? On this distribution. How do I install this package on, like, how do I install tree? How do I install GIMP? How do I install whatever tool you're trying to install? How do I install it on this distribution? Package names can be weird. They can be difficult to find. Like if you were trying to install, we did some stuff with Nginx, I think, or we're gonna do some stuff with Nginx on Camp Cloud. There's another web server called Apache. Very, very popular, very, very common. It's huge, it's everywhere. But Apache on Ubuntu-based distributions, I think it's, and I might be getting these mixed up because I haven't used Apache in so long. One of them, it's called Apache 2. The package is called Apache 2. So you might be trying to install Apache, and you might type in apt install Apache, and it doesn't work. But that's because it's called Apache 2. And on Red Hat-based distributions, it's actually HTTPD. That's the name of it, rather than Apache. And so it can get confusing. And this is why, yes, you can query for package names, but it might not give you back the information that you're really looking for. And so Google is pretty good for this instead, but these are some ways to do it. Yes, blinks, absolutely. If you hit !VODs, I think, There's a YouTube channel that these specifically go to. There are many old ones that we did in the past. They are getting uploaded to this new channel. This is a new channel specifically for the VODs, but you can find them all there. Normally, they're supposed to go up. Like the night of. It takes a little while to process, so I would say the morning after. Expect them. We had a little issue recently with. We had a little issue recently with. What's that thing called? With copyright strikes, but that I believe has been worked out, so everything should be up at the latest the morning after we stream. It should be up and available. What's up, Kalaris? All good, not a problem. We're still getting stuff installed. We're still surprisingly pretty early on, but we don't have. It's not super complicated today. So let's use Dpkg. You can see how confusing this Dpkg command might be. Look at this. Dpkg -query is the command that we're going to use. -s, capital S, and then a package name. So Dpkg Query is a different tool than Dpkg, but it allows you to query the packages that are available. -query -s. And again, let's stick with tree just because it's something we've been using. And I mostly want you to see how useless this can be. So basically this is the same type of output that we get from the ubuntu.pkgs.org site of basically all the things that have tree in the package name. And so lots of stuff here, but not super helpful at all. Like really let's do go. Not super helpful in finding what you need. I've actually never used Dpkg to query a package in real life. I've only ever used it for demos like this. Not a very good tool to do what you need. Yes, fire hose of uselessness. I agreed. I want to stop by and say thank you so much for all the amazing content you put out. I'm working my way through pipelines, intro to DevOps series on YouTube. Dope. I'm glad you found it. Thank you again. Absolutely configured. 100%. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. Like I said, it keeps me going. I'm simply glad to know people are finding this useful. All the content, like guys, I talk to people all the time. All the content won't be super useful for you. That's okay. If I might teach something that's I don't teach well for you, or just my content on that is not as well crafted as you need it because I got to fill it in to a certain amount of time. Like I said, go learn from everybody. Go find some information. I'm glad that my content can be helpful for you. Go through it. Let me know. We really do. I genuinely have some stuff coming to take these to another level of like interactiveness and like usefulness. Because I really do want, like, I'm not joking. I really would like these base camps are important to get strong foundations, but like I'm really trying to make legitimate series that like you participate in, and when you're done, you're ready. Like if you go through this, if you do these things, if you follow this, you'll be ready. And so we'll get to that point, but that helps me to know that people find it useful. So thank you. All right, so apt search is better. It's definitely better than Dpkg search. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, building some real world applications and scenarios. Yes, the problem with that is for DevOps in particular, it just takes. It's not like, oh, let's build your resume in HTML. It takes a lot of planning. You almost have to pre-build it. Basically pre-build a whole company to be able to do it. But we're gonna make some stuff happen. Just found your stream. I teach similar stuff down in New Zealand. Dope. First off, New Zealand's it's very high on my list of places I need to go. Definitely bucket list items. Something called AWS Restart. Awesome. That's dope. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I'll definitely have to check you out. I'm actually clicking your name now so I can go get. Oh, so yeah. Okay, you don't teach on here. You teach down there. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'll check that out. I think I've heard of Restart before. Maybe. I'm just pulling it up. Preparing unemployed. Wait, so do you actually work for AWS, or do you like contract with them to do this, or like does it, like, or do you just like join the program? Like, what is, hold on. Hold on, I'm about to get certified in this. This looks cool. That's dope. Send a connection to LinkedIn. Okay, cool. Yeah, 100%. I'll definitely a tertiary provider. That's awesome. I will definitely go accept that, and I'll definitely shoot you a message. Awesome. All right, so let's use our apt really quick. So apt search, and again tree, and it sorts and it goes through. And yes, this is still a lot. This is a lot better, but this is, still a lot of nothingness. It can be tough if you don't know how to parse these things well. We're going to learn that. I'm not expecting you to know how to parse it. I'm not going to teach you how to parse it yet because that's not super important now. That this is not where you want to spend your time because you don't need to. But it is a way to quickly see information, find out package names and things. It's good information. So yes, you can use the search here, but it's going to kind of search completely. There are some ways to craft a better search query, but I don't think it's worth your time to do that. So out of all of my years working with Linux, I just don't find using this to be the suitable way to search for package names. I think there are easier ways, but I do want to show you that it is available to you as we learn new ways to parse information like this and put commands together to make fancier commands. Then maybe I can show you some ways to kind of get through it, but your apt search will help you search for what you need. And again, you can always do, apt search -- help. That's something I haven't told you about, the -- help, which will kind of give you a man page, which is helpful because you can do it on a sub command. So apt search, and it'll give you search package descriptions. And so search looks at the descriptions of the package, not necessarily just the package name, which, can make things tough. But yeah, it doesn't really give you any more information than that. Yep, you can also do apt list. And you can also grep. We did the same thing with the Dpkg, but again, not a super. I genuinely don't think searching package names from the command line is all that helpful. I can't think of a scenario where you need a package so fast right now that I can't go to Google and do a little bit more research, because even what you find there, you might need to see a little bit more information about what it actually is. Package names can be wildly deceiving, like wildly deceiving. Yes, I have worked as a government contractor. I helped build the PPP loans for everybody in the U.S. I've done a lot. I worked with Small Business Administration. I worked with National Institutes of Health. I worked with NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I did a little bit with CMS as well, Center for Medicare and Medicaid, Centers for yes, CMS. I think that's about it. Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. One last thing, on your site, there's a pricing page. No way actually sending you money. Yes. No need to seriously. No need to send me any money. If you want to support, you can subscribe to the channel. Thinking about so I actually need to pull that down. There was a pay as you go model to this. Pay what you want model. If you find things useful. I'm going to remove that model. And the reason I'm going to remove that model is for a more traditional model. Like, hey, if you want to support, I'm going to give you if you want to buy a sticker pack, if you want to buy some merch, you can buy some merch. So you get something out of the deal as well. I just think it'll be better for stickers. So those are configured. Those are available. I'll whisper you some information. Those things are available for purchase. I just need to pull down the way to purchase them and switch up the way to purchase them because it was too difficult before. Because then I would have to manually go in and see who gave money and find their address and then send it off. And it was a lot. It was a whole lot. I'm going to make it easier, but I appreciate the desire to want to support. If you do want to support, use that Amazon Prime sub to sub, but I do appreciate it. But I'll, we'll get a merch store up real fast just so you can get something out of the deal as well. Thanks for taking time to teach. Your videos help me get a job. Pivot to software QA. Dope. QA. I'm, IQ the engineer. I don't know why. I don't know if everyone else can see your message because it marked you as a suspicious user, a possible suspicious user. I don't know why, but I appreciate it. Absolutely. Software QA is a pretty dope space as well. But I'm glad you're able to transition and get a DevOps job. I love it. I love to hear that. 100%. I'm not a bot. It's all good. I wasn't, I don't care. I don't even know why. I don't know why it's telling me that, but all good, all good. But that's really good to hear. So for those of you who are trying to get into tech, we're going to talk about, I'm going to have a whole series about like getting into tech because people talk about it all the time. And they do this and that. Like a more applicable series of like, hey, let's stop lying about like, let's be realistic about how many hours it's going to take to get into each of these spaces at the entry level. Entry level's not equivalent across the board, and I think that we've done a terrible job in the tech industry at portraying what that really means. And so we're going to have a little series talking about that and talking about the avenues of tech that have the lowest barrier of entry. QA is and isn't one of them. QA is software testing, and QA has changed a lot over the years, and so there are a lot of manual testing jobs where the barrier is a lot lower than being a software engineer or DevOps engineer. But if you're an automated tester, you're a software engineer. You're a software engineer, and so it's super duper high. So I've seen people get very confused about that, but we will definitely spend time talking about that for sure. Did you enjoy working for government contractors more than private sector? At first, no. I actually vowed to never work for a government contractor ever again. Back in like 2014 or so, and then I got on with that company called Fearless, the company that I always shout out. Who was there? The government is changing, and there are a lot of companies that are at the forefront of that change, and there's a lot of good opportunity there. Tech does matter. Like, yes, we're learning this stuff to get money. We're learning this stuff to change our own lives. But once you've worked in enough places, you see, like, especially with the government, you see how tech, like valuable tech, really has a gigantic impact on people's lives. Particularly government services can have a significant impact. Like, it's really important. And bad tech can like cause people like not to be able to eat. Or like literally to like lose their livelihood. Bad municipal tech can cause that kind of problems, and so I think it can be super rewarding. A lot of red tape. You'll be, there's a lot more chances to be frustrated. I do prefer to work in the private sector. I prefer to work in the private sector. You generally get to work with cooler tools, cooler technologies. You generally have more flexibility to move faster. Which is cool. But I do think government work can be more rewarding because even, I was someone who never cared about meaningful work. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really care. But over my years, I've started to care a lot more. And, the work, sometimes boring, can be more meaningful though. The work happens at the speed of government, speaking from experience. Yes, government can be slow. It can be slow. They're doing their best to change. They really are. Am I familiar with setting up a database with Kubernetes? Sure. Yeah. What kind of database are you trying to set up? Yeah, definitely have done, I generally stay away from containerization of database runtimes. Personally, but I've done it. I've absolutely have done it, and so there are definitely some implications to things you got to think about when dealing with it. But yeah, all right, let's keep going. Search online. So Debian.org has some packages here, and so we've also seen org. Let's hit here, and they have a link. I don't have an easy link. What is it? I should have made this clickable. I don't know why I didn't make this clickable. Debian.org/distrib/packages. I never remember this. Like I said, usually hit the Googles and type in the package that you need. It can be hard to view packages on this list as well. When you are, this is one of the places that's being queried when you are searching from the command line. So you'll get some of the same stuff, but again, a visual interface like this is easier to parse for most people. And you have some options here for searching package names only. So I can get some stuff that's a little bit easier for me to see. I have no idea. Oh, package tree, bullseye, stable. Package tree top, tree sheets, tree view, tree line. Okay. Oh, package tree. Here's the one that comes up right here. And it's a little bit easier to find what you need. A little bit harder to read. But yeah, you get it here. You get all the different download options, the different architectures that it's built for. So not just, AMD 64 or the Linux, 64 or whatever. You have some options here for the architecture that it's being built for. And this is a place that you can do. But seriously, I know this sounds bad, but Google. Sometimes Google leads you to this. That's fine. But I think Google is the place that you should start. It really is. Sometimes, so this is something that we didn't cover the last time we ran this, but this is important. Sometimes our package manager can't find what we need. When this happens, we need to tell it where to look. And so this is something that confuses a lot of people. This is going to be how you add a PPA to your list of repositories. So like I said, apt, the way you have it installed on your computer, is configured to look in certain places for packages that are available. You can add other repositories where packages might exist. Repositories are just holding places for packages, and you can add these things called PPAs, which are personal package archives, I think. Personal package archives. So these are basically repositories that people are running that aren't a part of the official repository list. And so you can add these repositories, and then now if you add them, basically apt will now know where to look to find packages. And so they may be able to find packages they couldn't find before. And so to add one, you can add one easily using the sudo apt repository command and then the name of the PPA you want to add. Not only when you can't find the file would you do this, you can also do this when the version that you need doesn't work. So watch this. Let's do Go. Do I have Go installed on here? No, I don't have Go installed on here right now. But what I can do is I can do apt install Go. And I actually don't think Go is the name. I think it is golang-go is the name of the package. Remember, the name of the package can be hard to find. That's why you should Google it. And I'm gonna click yes, and it's gonna install a package on here for me. I don't know what version it's gonna install. I have a feeling it's gonna install the latest, and this is going to defeat what I was gonna do with it. But let's see. Sometimes the package managed version is old. They don't always update these packages very quickly. And so sometimes I might want Golang, and they might be currently on 1.18, but the version that they've given me is 1.16 point something, and I need an updated version. Sometimes you can add a new PPA, so you can update the repositories list and say, hey, look here for newer versions as well, and then you can usually find them. But I think that this is the latest version. Let's see, Go. Let's see, Go, latest version. Downloads. 1.18.2. I might be able to, let's see. I'm just gonna Google Ubuntu Go latest version. Not 2. Ubuntu Golang latest version. And there might be, install the latest version of Golang. There's probably some type of PPA that I can add. This is telling me to install it manually. Let's see. Apt install Golang latest. And so hopefully this gives me an answer. So You'll come across answers like this often for Ubuntu, and this is what's happening here. It'll look like this. It says, hey, go ahead and this command right here is running the apt add repository command, and then there will be a link to a PPA. Remember that PPA is personal package archive. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. And then, so if I add this archive, this is basically a new place. This is basically a new place that my apt can go look. It adds to the database a place where it can go look for updates. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. Now I have pretty much almost the latest version, so this might not actually do anything, but I'll run this so you can see what happens. I run it. It'll give you some information about the description of what this repository has inside of it. And it'll say, hey, are you sure this is what you want to add? Does this information look correct to you? And I'll say, yep, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'll hit enter. It'll add it, but that doesn't do anything. When I go to install Golang now, it won't just install. If I try to do this again, it won't just work. What I have to do now is I have to update those databases. I've given it a new place to look, and now I've kind of got to update everything and make sure it's kind of loaded in. So I'll do an apt update. So you add the PPA first, and then you update your app database, and that'll run, and it'll just get everything loaded in. Okay. And then now that that's good to go, I will try to install Golang. Let's go. Now, like I said, I'm already on the newest, so it probably doesn't have this newest minor version up here, but that might be something that you do if you need to get the newer version installed and you want to use this to do it. When this happens, there is a directory. What is it? Etc apt sources.list.d. When I do that, it creates a file in this directory. And you can see here, long sleep Ubuntu Golang backports jammy.list. I'm gonna take a look at it so you can see what it looks like. And all it is here is it's got this deb command here, and it's got a place. And it's got some other information about the channel that it's using, and not architecture, but the versions that it works for. So it has this information here, and this is the file that basically gets loaded into the database when we do that apt update. If you want to remove this, if I wanted to take this away, all I would have to do is remove this file. That's extra information. I don't think you need to worry about that right now. Knowing where that is, just wanted to show you that there's a file that gets installed when you add that repository. What it's adding is basically this file right here. Where do PPAs come from? Can anyone create one? Yes, anyone can create one. Anyone can create one. Let's see. I'm slightly confused with Redis. Okay, so Redis is a little bit different. I've done the cluster and everything, but I'm stuck trying to access it externally. Then it load balances and gives me a slave node which I can write to. What I need is direct access to the master pod so I can perform write request. Also, do I need to maintain 2 database connections? On, let's say the node. Ow! I bit my tongue. Do I need to maintain 2 database connections? One for master in case write requests, and another for general read requests. Okay, this is a bigger question. So Redis is always interesting because Redis is an in-memory database, and so it works the same, but it works the way that you generally interact with it is a bit different. You're trying to access it externally, which means one, you need to make sure you have a service set up so that it is able to route internally to those pods. The way which I can write to, so you can do that. You can manage this in 2 different ways. That is, yeah. I mean, you can have an endpoint for the writer and have a load balanced point for the reader, which is useful. You do not need to maintain 2 database connections. Yeah, you do not need to. There are there are ways for your app to be smart and to properly handle your write request, your put or your update requests versus your get requests. I'm trying to think of a way to talk about this without making it super complicated. That's fine though. You can manage that like that if you would like. The problem with that though is if your master pod, if your master goes down and one of the followers gets promoted to leader, if you are hard coding directly to write to a master endpoint, you got to make sure that you set up a way for it to properly fall out of the reader load balancer and into the writer load balancer. But yeah, there are a lot of fancy ways to make it happen. There's so many fancy ways to make it happen. But yeah, just make sure you have a service set up to access it externally, with your ports mapped properly, your target ports and stuff. But make sure you have that. Why do you need to access it? Why are you trying to access Redis externally is my question. Why are you trying to access Redis externally? I need to know a little bit more about that. All right. I think that's all we have for .deb and for apt. So let's take a 5-minute break and let's learn about Yum. We'll learn a little bit more about Yum and do some of basically the same things that we just did with Yum, adding repositories, getting things installed. Pretty simple stuff there. We'll talk a little bit more deeply about repositories. And then after that, we'll get some stuff. We'll learn how to install stuff, build stuff from source. So building from source seems, this is kind of the coolest part. The first time I learned how to do this, I felt like a Linux pro. I think, it's something fun to do. And there's a few different things to learn and to know about it that make you feel pretty cool. So let's take a 5-minute break, go to the bathroom, get some water or something. We've been going for a while, and come on back. Yeah, let's start this. Redis tool such as Red Insight. I don't know much about Red Insight, but when I connect to it externally, wait, this is deja vu. This is like really deja vu. I need to plug in my phone really quick because it's dead. When I connect to it externally, it just connects to slave pods and can't really do any writes. First off, let me look at Red Insight. Let's see. Redis GUI. Does it need to be external? Is the first question. Can the tool? Is this a cloud? Are you saying is this a cloud thing? I mean, if it is, yeah, you're probably just, as long as you have a service set up, probably some firewall stuff that you might need to do if there's a cloud service and it's trying to connect to Redis. But if it's a program that you install, throw those. Can you throw it into its own pod as well? Or can it also be a part? I mean, I don't usually recommend this, but if you're just trying to get it to work and this is not like a big production level thing, can you install it in the Redis in the Redis pod? Can you install this in the Redis pod? Because then you might be able to do that a little bit more easily. Then it can speak internally, and then the only thing that you don't have to worry about exposing Redis to the outside world. You just expose the GUI to the outside world. Maybe. How would I use it then if it's a container? So you would expose whatever port that it runs on. You would expose that port as a part of your pod definition, and it's a web app. I mean, yeah, you can. If it's a web app, I'm assuming it's a web app. Or are you saying it's okay? Is it a web app? If it's not a web app, I understand. Not a web app. Okay. It's like that like MySQL Workbench, and like there's like one for Postgres as well. Is the Kubernetes cluster running locally on your computer, or is it running somewhere else? Yeah, well, so PG Admin, I think you can have a web interface for it. I think. Yeah, I assumed it was a web app. Okay, so the Kubernetes clusters in DigitalOcean. So yeah, I mean, in that case, I haven't used DigitalOcean in a while. I don't even know if I know my login. Let me get in here real quick. And I also haven't used their Kubernetes service. Hey, Brooks and mastermind.io. Let's see something here. 6-digit code. Where'd it go? To my email? Okay. I'll grab that from my email. And 784. What's it for? I haven't logged in here so long. I have stuff in here. I don't know. All right. I didn't set up their own Kubernetes. I just created droplets and connected them manually. Whoa. That sounds. Wait, did you do Kubernetes the hard way? Or are you just doing, or I'm impressed. Like you didn't use their Kubernetes, you set it up yourself? Ah, okay. Interesting. Then yeah, I would. Does DigitalOcean have like? I haven't done anything with this in so long. Like I have stuff in here, but I don't log in here. Do they have like a firewall? Because what you should be able to do is create a service. Kubernetes Redis service. Spell this right. Service. So you should be able to do. I just want to see if they have an example of this. That was a fast 5 minutes. Cool. You should be able to create a Redis service. Let me see what this one looks like. Oh, they don't show me the. Okay, let's see. Volume. Currently config. But the service is going to be the thing that's going to expose it to the outside world. And I think you follow this article. I think so as long as the ports are exposed, you probably need to yeah, I mean you can like if you do this and you have the external, like if you have a service set up right, you'll have an external IP for it, and then you should be able to connect to that external IP of the cluster that you have. This can be tough though. Mentioned headless, but I don't know how to do that. What do you have? This is damn. I want to dive into this, but we don't have time for this. I'll look for some guides at the end of this. Let's finish up what we're doing, and then maybe I can hop into the Discord. If you're not in Discord, !Discord, and maybe we can troubleshoot this a little bit. Maybe if we have some time, we can just do it. We are doing a Kubernetes course for anyone interested. We will be doing some Kubernetes because it's it's cool. I'm not a Kubernetes believer. I don't, if you don't have to use Kubernetes, I don't use Kubernetes. Good to learn, very valuable to learn. If you're looking for a tool to learn, Kubernetes can make you some big money. But people, I think that 80 to 90% of people who are using it don't need to be using it, but it's all good. What you do is connect to a pod and talk to Sentinel. Then he tells you which pod is master. Yeah. Kinda. I think I'm thinking that's how it'll work for a desktop application. Maybe. Sounds like it might work. Yes. I'm interested to see what do you know what connection information the web app, I mean not the web app, the application is looking for? Is it just looking for an IP address and a port? Which would, make sense, but is that all you need, or is there anything special you got to do? All right, so let's do Yum really quick. Like I said, Yum is now DNF, so IP port username pass. Okay, all right, we'll talk about it in a little bit, if you're still around. But like I said, hop into Discord, shoot me a message, and we can troubleshoot it a little bit. All right, Red Hat, Yum, DNF now. DNF has better dependency management and memory optimization. That doesn't really matter all that much for the most part, because computers are so fast now. So yes, very, very similar to very similar to Apt that we've already been using. So Yum install package name. We'll go back up to this one. But Yum install package name is how we get a file installed. Yum remove package name is how we remove it. So let's do the same thing again with tree. So we'll go over to our CentOS thing here. And we already installed something, but we'll install something else. Let's make sure tree isn't installed. Cool. Yum install tree. And it'll go look for it. Finds it. I'll hit yes. And just that easy, tree is installed on our system. I have nothing here. This is a brand new system. There's nothing where I am. So when I do it, it just shows a dot. But if I go to the root of the system and I do tree, we get tons of stuff, because if you do tree from the root of the system, it's going to show the entire system to you. Okay, so that's why we got all this output. So, not a very good idea. So right now there are 13,279 directories that come on this by default. Excuse me, 92,000 files, and I went through those pretty darn quickly. All right, if I want to remove it though, Yum remove tree. And it says, hey, do you want to remove it? It's nice because we get a little bit of red and green action. When we were adding it, it turned green. When we're removing it, it turns red, which is nice. Good visual indicator of what's happening here. And you can see here, preparing, erasing, removed. And now if I hit tree, not there, no longer here on the system. So Yum install, Yum remove, Yum install, Yum remove. All right, pretty simple. Now we can, the same way that we installed a .deb file on Dpkg, we can do the same thing on Red Hat. And so these files are called RPMs, and I'm 98% sure RPM stands for Red Hat Package Manager. I'm gonna Google that though. Let's see. What does RPM mean? No, that was dumb. Linux. Yeah, okay, Red Hat Package Manager, exactly. So the files, the packages are called RPMs. So you probably heard that before. If not, you'll hear it a lot. And so let's find tree RPM. Let's see if we can find it. RPMfind.net is a place where you can find stuff. And so it shows for different distributions here. I have no idea. What are we using? We're using CentOS 9, right? Yeah, I think we're using CentOS 9. Little 2 commands that you can use if you're ever given a Linux system. So this is actually good for interviews, okay? If you're ever trying to figure out what operating system you're on, this is how you do it. This is how I do it. This is how you can do it too. First things first, you can do this. Easiest, quickest way is first, just type in Yum. If you type in Yum and you get some output, that means you're on a Red Hat based distribution. If you do it over here, it'll say, hey, Yum's not available. The problem, usually it'll give you a try as well, and this will easily tell you what to do. This is the quickest way. This is the quickest way to get some insight, but it doesn't give you the answer, okay? It's the quickest way to give you some insight, but it doesn't necessarily hand you what the answer is. And so that's one fast way to do it. And since it is speaking my language, the next thing you can do cat. If you're on a Red Hat system, you can do cat/etc Red Hat release. Okay, so I'm on an Ubuntu machine, and Red Hat release doesn't exist. So I might start typing that in. It doesn't exist. I know it's not that. But you can also cat etc issue. If you cat/etc/issue, it'll give you the name here. Now, if I do it over here, though, if I do it over here on a Red Hat based system, let's see, cat/etc issue. Let's see if it's available. It is available. You will get something like this. Okay, so if you're not on Debian on Ubuntu or Debian, it's going to give you something a little harder to read. It doesn't tell you exactly what it is. Okay. And so it's another good indication. You can say, okay, I was expecting it. If I'm on Ubuntu, it'll give me this. If not, it'll give me something like this. You can also do cat/etc Red Hat release. That'll tell you if you're on a Red Hat based system, it will have a Red Hat release file, which will give you some stuff there. And yeah, uname-r is going to give you some information about the kernel, but it can give you some other information as well. You can use uname to find out some other information. But yeah, cats find fish in both Linux. Sorry, but it's okay. Joke, not terrible. Not terrible at all. So I'm on a path to becoming a full stack dev. Currently, I'm learning DevOps, mainly Docker and Kubernetes. Dope. What else should I learn that might come in handy? Linux is probably a good skill. Yes. So Linux, usually when people are coming from, software side of things, I always tell them go Linux first. My plan is usually code, cloud, and containers is what I think you need to be a solid DevOps engineer. And so I would pick up, so containerization is great. Docker and Kubernetes, I would stick with that. Yes, get some Linux skills because you will be installing things. You will be figuring out how to, the more you know about Linux, the better you'll be at using Docker and building Docker files and understanding how things fit together. CI is great. Learning CI is important, but I generally find CI to be overblown on how difficult it is. Yeah, it can get pretty deep. But I think that if you understand the application and how it needs to be set up, CI usually becomes, I find pretty easy to figure out. And it's also something that you're also not going to be for most people, you're not going to be building new pipelines every single day. So usually you can pick up a tool and get what you need, figure out how to get what you need built. A lot of it is Docker based now. So once you, if you already know containers and stuff, it's relatively easy to kind of figure some of that stuff out. But yeah, networking, you should definitely know basic networking. I would learn a cloud platform. If you don't know AWS or Azure, I pick up one of those. AWS is probably the better option, but Azure is great too. Don't learn GCP right now. Just not a ton of jobs there. But yeah, I pick up a cloud provider, a little bit of Linux cloud provider. Will you teach Elastic Beanstalk? We will teach Lambda, not Elastic Beanstalk. We'll teach Lambda. So Elastic Beanstalk is pretty cool. Actually, it's really a good tool especially for DevOps engineers to be able to provide infrastructure and help create infrastructure for the devs and give them an easy way to kind of spin stuff up. But yeah, there are other, I think with infrastructure as code and Terraform and everything, I generally stay away from Elastic Beanstalk, but it is pretty cool. Lambda for sure. We'll definitely do a fair amount with Lambda. Difference between EBS and EC2 local storage. So EBS is elastic block storage. That is detached, so you can detach that. It's non-ephemeral storage. It's permanent. Okay. EC2 local storage or instance store. It's ephemeral storage. It's attached to the instance itself. So when you delete an EC2 container, an EC2 image, or sorry, when you delete the EC2 instance, if it's on the local store, the data will go away. Okay, if you delete it, the data goes away with it. EBS, that's not the case. You can delete the instance without deleting the data. Also, that EBS storage, the EBS volume can be detached from an instance and connected to another instance, so it sticks around. So EBS, that can be separated and moved around. EC2 local storage is ephemeral, and if you delete that instance, it goes away. Also, you can bootstrap right. Once you have a pipeline up, you can start containerizing parts of the pipeline and stuff, including hypervisor stuff, which you have. Yes. Yep. There's so many options for it. Like this, you can do. Yeah, there's so many options for it. For sure. All right. So now we know how to tell whether we're there, but I'm gonna grab. I went to rpmfind.net, which is gonna help me find some RPMs. When I look for a tree, I'm gonna look for the one here that's hard to find. See, this is not easy to find. This is why people generally use package managers, but people also use files like this because you can grab the RPMs, you can grab the files, and maybe you're working in a cleared space, and the system that you're installing things on does not have access to the internet. Well, you might transfer via a USB stick. You might transfer all of the RPMs needed to run all your applications over to a system, and this is how you would install it. So I'm running CentOS base R64. So actually, let me go over here. x86 64. So I'm gonna go over here, and that's this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna click this RPM right here. I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna copy it, copy link address, and I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna curl it. So curl -o, again, I'll just call it tree.rpm, and I'll paste in this URL. So we're doing that curl again. Remember, curl is the, people always think this, they say curl is the command that allows you to download stuff from the command line. That's not what it does. Curl allows you to make web requests from the downline, from the command line, and this request, the place we're going is going to give us a downloadable file. So this curl command does download a file, but curl allows you to make web requests. It does not download files. wget does download files. All right, so I got this tree.rpm file, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use yum to install this thing. Yes, I'm going to use yum to install this package. So yum local install is how we're going to install this RPM package. So yum, let's clear. Yum local install tree.rpm. And when we do it, this looks very similar to what we've seen when we did yum install tree. Yes, same thing. But again, we're doing it from a file rather than grabbing it from the package manager. And so this can be cool too if you're trying to get specific versions and stuff. You can do it this way. You can do it this way as well. Now I have tree. Actually, let me go back to my home directory. But now I have tree available. It does work. I am able to issue the command without getting a command not found. I can man tree, and this thing works. I'm very good at computer science, but very bad at math. Is this normal? Joshua Oliver. Yes. Yeah. I mean, super normal. You do not have to be good at math to do computer science. There are some math things, concepts that are applicable, in computer science. But you don't need to be good at math. Computers do the math for you. Yeah, you don't. It is normal. There are a lot of people who do computer science that are not good at math. I'm not a computer scientist at all. I didn't major in computer science. I have spent some time studying some computer science concepts because it actually interests me a lot. But I used to be good at math, but I'm not great at math anymore because, you don't use it, you lose it, but you don't need to be great at math. I know you don't need to be great at math. I promise you. It's pretty normal. Gonna head out. All right, Blinkies, 2 a.m. here in the UK. I appreciate your dedication coming through. Absolutely. Get out of here. Go get some rest. That sounds, I'm sleepy just thinking about it being 2 a.m. there. I'm sleepy right now, and it's only 9 here. But thanks for coming through. Good to see you. we're about to finish up. What is this group, Podgrammers? So this is just a group of people on Twitch that that program and do some cool stuff. It's just a group of us. It used to be like a bigger thing. Like there was Podgrammers and there was Only Devs. So Only Devs was like Primogen and a bunch of other stream folks. But it was just, you know, it's just a self-proclaimed stream team that, you know, they're a part of. So there's a bunch of people in there. Like 100 Devs has one as well. I'm about to try to get in there. So Leon, I'm coming for you. I want to be in the 100 Devs group. But yeah, it's just a stream group. It's nothing. We just hang out sometimes. We used to do a lot of stuff together though. Then everyone kind of, well, I stopped streaming for a while, and so did a lot of other people. So the reason I was asking the question is because a lot of people told me you need math or you can't do computer science. They're lying to you. They are absolutely lying to you. Yes, there's a bit of simple math you need to understand. Not even need to understand. There's a bit of math that would be helpful if you did understand a bit of simple math concepts, especially when you're spending time. You know, even just talking about binary. You know, kind of have an understanding of you know what that means. You know, base 2 versus base 10 and stuff like that. But that's for some computer science theory. I don't. Yeah, you don't need. I promise you don't need to be good at math. You don't need to be good at math. There are. It probably would help when you get into deeper comp sci topics, but. Yes, and you said I'm very good at computer science, but very bad at math. Normal. Sitting here made me think how I could go about doing geo routing Kubernetes. Maybe I could build my own CDN. That is pretty cool. Let me know if you decide to try that out. That sounds pretty cool. And like also the fact that you're even thinking like that, like you're on. You made it. You made it. You made it for sure. Definitely a difference between coding and computer science. Huge difference. A lot more math heavy, but in my experience, I generally see that when people are saying they're not good at math, like I even still think the math that I've seen in computer science isn't crazy. Like even people who aren't great at math, yeah, you might have to spend a little bit more time understanding those concepts, but like you're not going to be sitting down just doing a bunch of math. Like even understanding the theory of this thing is like it's not sitting there and writing out problems. Like it is understanding how this type of formula or this type of thing applies to this paradigm of programming and how you find I think that even if you're bad at math, I think that you can figure out most of the tougher math focused thing in like the theory of computer science. I think people can get it because I can code HTML, CSS, C, and some Python. Yeah. Programming, yeah. Actually, coding and computer science are two very, very different things. It's so weird. It's not weird, but I see people fight about this all the time. And yeah, there's it's true. I do think that having some computer science knowledge will make it easier for you through your career. I do think it'll make you like having a base computer science understanding will make you a better programmer. It is not necessary though. Don't let anyone tell you that it is necessary. You can make a ton of money without it. But yeah, yes, AI machine learning, very mathy. I think I said this last stream. One of the biggest reasons I have a 3090 in this computer, and I was going to do some machine learning. And when I started to dive into it, I saw how much math there was, and I was like, I'm not concerned about my ability to understand this, but I just don't feel like diving into math right now, and so I never did as much machine learning stuff as I wanted to do. I might get back into it. That's why I went cybersecurity, and then picked other languages on the side in case I want to do software stuff one day. Yeah. Yep. Depends on what part of CS you get into. Yeah. The weird part is that most colleges still only teach CS, and almost everyone taking the classes just wants to get a coding job. You have said what people won't say. I can't tell you. I've gotten to speak with a number of faculty members of different colleges who have CS programs, and that is the big. I try to get that point across. That is the weird part. You know, CS is like, we do need people to know CS, but a lot of the people who are joining the program just want to get a good coding job. And I think that most CS programs, you know, the way that how fast tech moves and the technology that we're using, most people come out not having touched most of the stuff that, you know, that the world is using. And so most people come out and are like kind of lost a little bit, even though they have all the computer science concepts. Now they can apply those things and probably pick up, you know, something new very quickly. But yes, there is a difference. There's a giant disconnect. There's a big disconnect between what people are looking for and what companies need and what universities are teaching. Yeah, there's a pretty significant disconnect. That's why there was such a rise of coding boot camps. You know, people feel how they feel about them. I'm not against coding boot camps. I just think they're very expensive, and it's kind of a toss up of what you like, of what you get. And so, you know, I think they sell you a different dream that I think is a little bit unfair at times. I think coding boot camps should be a little bit longer. I really think that companies, if you're out there listening, you'll save yourself so much money if you just listen to this. Invest in building your own internal coding boot camps. Invest in your own internal coding boot camps. Pay people a small stipend to come in and learn. Pay people a small stipend to come in and learn, and pay them a reasonable a reasonable salary to work for you. So instead of having to pay entry-level dev coming out of college $90 grand, $100 grand, pay people $15 an hour to learn from you all for a certain amount of time, for 3-4 months, full time, learn from us, then pay these people $65,000-$70,000, and they'll work for you and they'll learn, and you'll get a lot out of them, and you give them a raise after a year of good work and give them 90. They'll be happy to be there. You taught them a lot. You got to get your stuff done for cheaper in the long run. I'm telling you, it'll be cheaper. Right now, these companies are paying big money to recruiters to bring in entry and mid-level folks. You know, they're paying 20% of someone's 1 year salary, 30% of someone's 1 year salary to get them in there. They stay for a year and they're having to do it all over. I don't understand why companies aren't investing, you know, especially if you have a lot of engineers, like it costs so much money to hire one solid dev, like one experienced dev. Companies are paying such significant money. I mean, I just saw a dude get hired with 4 years of experience, get hired at 180 grand base salary, and the company had to pay 31% of that. And again, you know, like I said, math. Let's pull up the calculator, because I don't know how much that is, but it was a lot, and I was blown away. 0.31 times $180,000. These people paid $55,800 just for this person to come on board. He could leave it. He could leave in 6 months. He could leave in 8 months, a year. Split that $55,000 up into a training program. Train some people. Train some people. Pay them to learn. Pay them to learn. If you're gonna spend that, like, pay them to learn. I don't get it. Like, these companies need these people. These companies have the money. Like, they really have the money. I don't really understand. Yeah, it's crazy out here. It's definitely crazy out here. But yeah, nothing wrong with college degrees. But there is a disconnect in computer science courses and what's going on in most of the real world. There are companies, there are places, there are people building things where that computer science knowledge is necessary. Don't let people lie to you and say nobody's doing those things. Just most companies aren't. There are companies who literally just have websites that sell products that need you to build new widgets for their site, new banners, new this, new that, and they'll pay you good money to do so. Okay, that's a valuable job. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You know, there are companies that just need you to build. There are companies who need you to build and maintain a chatbot that, you know, just they have such bad customer service. They just need something to slow the calls down. And that's good too. And you know, there's some logic and things that need to be learned there, but like everything isn't rocket science. Everything doesn't need to go deep into computer science theory. Some people just need people to get stuff done, and they'll pay good money for it. You know, so there's a disconnect, but it's not. CS is valuable. It can be valuable. It's not necessary though. Was leaving get a better job after 2 years. Okay, and if you understand the folks at that point, yeah, I mean, well, pay. Yeah, they're gonna leave anyway. Exactly, they're gonna pay. They're gonna leave anyway. So why, even if you're not paying a recruiter to find someone, the amount that it costs to have your senior engineers and these teams of people interview a bunch of people, it's very expensive, and so much money that you're paying these people to work goes to the hiring process that you end up paying this amount anyway. So like, just put on a program. Just put on a program. Just curious, how many programming languages do you know? I know Python, I know JavaScript, I know Go. Bash doesn't really count. I've built some things. I built like some scripts and stuff in PHP, as well as Perl. But I wouldn't say that I know either one of those. I've just built some things in those. I built some things in Ruby before as well. But I wouldn't say that I know those. So I would say I know 3, JavaScript, Python, and Go. I would say the 3 that I know. How many programming languages should I know in order to get a great coding job? 1. A single language is all you need. I really mean that. You don't need to know more than 1. I do think trying to pick up another one will give you some context and help you I think it'll help you learn the language that you know mainly better. But you just need 1. Do companies usually give hard technical questions on interviews? That's what's scaring me away. Mixed bag. It's a numbers game. You should be doing lots of interviews, like hundreds. Like, put out your resume everywhere. Some will give hard technical questions. I think hard is relative. I think that if you are entry level, the questions will feel very tough. I think the place that they feel the toughest, mid-level. When you're trying to get a mid-level role, when you're in that 2 to 5 year range, that's when the technical interview seems the hardest, because that's where it's hardest to gauge. I generally find that senior interviews have been easier, and maybe that's just because your knowledge is just greater. But I find that those are much easier. Don't be scared. Yes, you will have some bad interviews. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it at all. You'll have some bad interviews. Just learn from it. Write down everything they ask you. Feel free to ask. Hey, if they ask you something you don't know, admit that you don't know it, and ask them to, hey, could you shed some light on that? I don't really know what that is. Like, would you mind explaining that concept to me? I've never heard of that thing. Could you explain that tool to me? You know, so that you can learn from it, or write it down so that when you go into the next interview with somebody, watch some YouTube videos, and now you can be conversational about that thing. You don't have to use it. You don't have to know everything about it, but just, you know, write it down, talk about it, like be able to say a few words about it, and it helps a lot. Helps a whole lot. How long does it take a new developer to learn a code base? Oof. That is a great question. What's that? Guts Goes Berserk. That's a phenomenal question. How long should it take? You know, obviously it depends on the size of the code base, but yeah, I mean, the way code bases are now, the way that they sprawl through multiple services and things, I wouldn't expect anyone to be new to be proficient in the code base for, I'm not even lying to y'all, 5 to 7 months to be proficient in the code base. I really, 5 to 7 months is how I feel. Other companies won't feel the same. Now, you should be able to, you will quickly start to get up to speed with certain pieces. That's why generally I recommend, starting a developer, when they get into a code base, start them at one place and try to, for a few weeks, try to find work in that same part of the code base, just so they can become an expert in a section of the code base, then move them someplace new and have them spend time in a different area of the code base. Some people like to throw people all around. There is a cost to context switching. People have different opinions on it. I don't think my way is perfect, but 5 to 7 months is what I would say to learn a code base, where when people start, and when I think of learning a code base. I think when you get when you're going through the refinement and you're trying to figure out the work that's upcoming, and someone reads, hey, we need to do X. When they say we need to do X, your ability to be like, okay, I know where that page is. I know that exists in this repository. In this general area, the component is over in this part of the application, and you have an idea of where you might go to solve this problem. That's what I'm thinking of when I say the code base. Is once people start throwing out things, you have a general idea about where to head to get started. Doesn't mean that's where it's gonna stay, but to get started. And so I would say 5 to 7 months. As a former tech lead, what do you look for in entry level DevOps SRE? This is one of the hardest questions. Types of projects would you like to see? I personally, I don't care about projects. I know that sounds wild, and this is a personal thing. I don't care about projects. The reason I don't care about projects is in the real world, all the projects that you do, all the projects that you have to go through to learn, they're in a vacuum. They're done with a perfectly crafted, everything's greenfield, and you're starting from scratch with untouched, fresh stuff. In the real world, that's not how you're going to be interacting with things. And so I don't really care about the projects. Generally, I think that entry level for SRE or DevOps is not the same. Entry level doesn't mean no knowledge. Entry level means no experience, not no knowledge. And the things that I personally look for are, again, I think for any tech space, is a general understanding of the overarching concepts and your ability to be. Mostly, I look for an ability to troubleshoot. So I don't even really care that I don't need you to know all about containers or I don't need you to know all about AWS or systems or anything like that. I'm looking for your ability to know how to gather information and try to identify something so that you can move to the next step or get to where you need to be. So troubleshooting is your ability to troubleshoot is almost exclusively what I look for in an entry level engineer, period. Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're being paid to do. You're being paid to troubleshoot a problem. And if you can understand how to, start somewhere and how to, gather enough information to allow you to make a decision to move to the next step to determine if something's right or wrong, here or there, that's good enough for me. You can learn the technologies. You can learn the tech. I think you can learn the tools. There's always a new tool. There's always new tech. Half the time we're working with stuff we've never used before. So I generally look for troubleshooting abilities in an entry level SRE or DevOps engineer. I think that's what will make you successful. And so I don't really care. I don't really care about the project. It's like, yes, we can talk about, you can have done every AWS lab out there, but in practice, the setups and things, it's not going to be that applicable at all. It's not going to be super. It's going to be applicable, but there's going to be other pieces. There's going to be a lot of other pieces to kind of make it actually work. And so I need to know that you can, start to try to think through problems. People always think that you need to know everything. No, you don't need to know everything at all. I'm telling y'all, I'm lost most of the, you just be lost. And again, you know how to orient yourself. You know how to figure out what the end goal is, figure out what's wrong, identify the problems, figure out how to implement these different things. Gaining troubleshooting skills is the hardest question to me to answer. That's the problem. I hate saying it because I don't know good ways for you to get good troubleshooting skills. I really don't have an answer. I almost don't even have a place to start, and I feel bad about that. I feel guilty for that, for sure. People don't give you. There's a million coding challenges you can do, and yes, that is problem solving. But when it comes to systems and stuff, and that might be cool. That might be something I venture into. tons of scenarios where systems are broken, or different applications are set up and they're broken, and job is to go through and figure out where the problem lies and how to fix it. I think will be cool, but I don't have a good way to I don't know. Learn how to Google 100% and understand what you're reading. Yes, understanding what you're reading. So that's one of the biggest things that I didn't do in the beginning, and which I try to encourage people to do now, is I used to Google a lot looking for something, and I would try a bunch of stuff, but I would just copy and paste, and I would never really understand what was happening. And I swear to you, I don't feel like I got good at anything until I really started understanding why I was doing what I was doing. And for an entry-level developer or entry-level engineer, I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for the whys. I know that's good to have. I almost hate when I hear people say like I'll ask you that, like if we're learning and we're training, I'll ask you all the time, why? Because I want you to think about it. I want your brain to start figuring out how to think about that. But I think you almost don't get enough context while you're learning as a junior engineer or early career engineer. It's hard to know why you're doing something. You haven't seen enough. You haven't done enough to know why you did it. You did some things, just like all the labs, like the labs that you can do for DevOps. There's a lot of AWS labs. There's a lot of things you can build and put together, but they don't tell you why. There's no context. It's just like, hey, set up Redis. Hey, set this up. It's like, why? Like what is the scenario for this? Why is this better than this? For what reason? And once you can start to deduce those things, everything gets easy. Everything got super crazy easy. And I felt like it was a thing that allowed me to dive into any problem that I ever ran up against, because I could start to I could start to determine the whys, and when I would ask questions, the whys would give me a lot more information about what to do next. It's super helpful, but I think those things take time. But troubleshooting abilities is the best. Maybe okay, here's how I got my troubleshooting abilities, particularly with computers. I'm not joking. This will frustrate you. Nowadays Linux is much better. Go Linux full time on your computer. Take your computer, install Linux on it, blow away Windows, run Linux. You used to, it was guaranteed you're going to run into issues with Wi-Fi stuff, with Bluetooth, all kinds of stuff. And I think that doing that forced me to start to understand the steps to take with computers. But I always think I've been generally good at troubleshooting and solving problems. Maybe try some there's some escape room games. There's apps called The Room. I don't know. Maybe I don't have I'll find someone who knows. I'll do some research. I'll do some research to see if I can find some stuff, but I feel bad about it. I'll be honest with you. I don't have any good answers. All right. So back to this. I know we went off on a tangent there. I really like the questions though. There are very, very good questions. Keep them coming though. So yeah, installing yum install, yum remove. Yum search will allow you to search for package names as well. I find the yum search to be a little bit better than all the other things that we've looked at so far. So yum search tree, and we get some things here, get some highlighting, and I think yum is better because generally the search gives you the thing that you want. If you know the package name's right or close to it, it'll usually put it in kind of a order that is helpful for you. And so you can see that right there. The number one option is tree. So that's the way to find the stuff. But again, literally what you should be Googling if you're trying to install a package, hey, how to install Apache on CentOS 9. It's type in exactly what you want. You'll find something. You can see here, hey, if I want to install Apache, look at this. DNF install HTTPD tools. You wouldn't know that's the package name But again, doing some Googling helps you figure those things out. And so it's okay to be able to look for exactly what you want. Highly recommend it. Yes, there are ways to do it programmatically from the command line. But I think out of all of my years, I think I don't spend time. It's caused me more headaches than anything to try to find package names directly from the command line. So just do a little bit of searching. Here's the part that's fun. Here's the part that we need to talk about so we can get out of here. What if there's no package? Am I hiring? I'm not hiring. I'm not right now. I'm not. I'm just a guy who's here. I'm not. All right. What if there's no package? Build it from source. So applications and tools that are built to run on Linux can be installed by manually compiling its source code. So source code, that's the human readable code that you or I write. So when someone builds an application in Python or in whatever, when they're sitting there writing the code for it, that's the source code. They're building the source code. And so we can build an application for our system from that source code. So that source code needs to be compiled into an application that's runnable. And so that is what we will do. What's up, blah? Yeah, am I hiring interns to lobby for a LaCroix sponsorship? Maybe. So today I have Signature Select seltzer water. I don't know. I have no idea where this is from. No idea, but I have it. Signature Select. So, it's a good idea. I haven't had LaCroix over here in a long time, so I heard some bad things about LaCroix and what it can, I heard it's bad for you. So we've been staying away. But we might still lobby for their sponsorship. I'll replace what's in the LaCroix can with some still water and drink it on stream. And it'll be great. It's not like LaCroix is wait, is LaCroix Nestle? Are they really? Oh, but I mean, yes, Nestle's bad. Nestle bad. Very bad. Very bad. I almost. We should go steal from Nestle. We should go steal the water that Nestle is stealing, and it'll be, we'll be Robin Hoods. Robin Hood. We'll be steal from the rich. They'll still have plenty of water. If you all don't know about Nestle water, if you're not from the U.S. or just haven't heard about it, go look up Nestle and the way that they are getting their water that they use for their bottled water, and how, it's wild. It's wild. Just making money hand over fist without putting out any money is pretty crazy. All right, so let's build it from source. There's a lot of applications that we can do. So sometimes the applications won't be in a package manager. Sometimes the versions and things that we'll need will just need to be built from source. They'll need to be built from the source files. If this will happen, this will come up. You will need to do this. What Python packages do I need to install water from Nestle? Good question. I don't know. That's a really good question. It's filled out of a dude's bathtub. I mean, that might be more ethical. Might be more ethical. All right. So let's do it with so I like we usually do this with like Ruby. You can do this with pretty much any application that's installed if you can find the source code. So GitHub, if you're looking for source code for stuff, GitHub is where you can go to get some source code for some things that you can download. If we look at, let's explore. I never used the GitHub Explore page. Trending. Let's see what's trending over here on GitHub. Paddle speech. Easy to use speech toolkit. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm sure we could build one of those things. One of the applications that we can use is NeoVim. So we rated TJ DeVries here on Twitch, but he's one of the contributors to NeoVim. That's probably the last application that I built from source for my own computer. Vim, let me actually, what am I logged into? Yes, NeoVim is amazing. So we have Vim here. Do we have Vim on both of these systems? We should have Vim on both of these systems. Cool, that's fine. Take a look at that. But NeoVim, let's go look at NeoVim. And we'll compile. Actually, let's do. Fine. We'll do NeoVim. We'll start with this. Yes, NeoVim's. I've switched to NeoVim pretty much full time. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Okay, so NeoVim's an application, and it's built with look at this. It tells you Vim script, lots of Vim script, a lot of Lua, some C over here as well. But we can take this application and we can compile it for our computer. What compilation is and building from source, it means compiling it for our computer. Is it's taking that source code. Computers don't speak what we write. Computers don't speak the words that we write into our code program. It needs to be compiled down to machine code. It needs to be compiled down to ones and zeros, basically. And so what needs to happen is there needs to be a process to convert that, to take this source code and run it through some compilation steps to get it from this one format into something executable by the computer, something readable by the computer. That's what compiling it, that's what building it means. Juicebox Hero, what is up? Shout out. Let me spell it right. Juicebox Hero. Hope you all had an amazing stream today. Welcome. You all know Juice. But yeah, dope stream if you want to go learn, build some cool stuff, have a good time. I always have such a good time at your stream. But yeah, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. We are just finishing up the probably most fun part of today's class. We're learning how to do package management on Linux, how to get stuff installed, how to use different package managers from different distributions. But right now we're about to we're about to build some code from source to work on our machine, and we're about to learn about what that means. So we're gonna build this, but here's what has to happen when you install from source. There are the first step is that there needs to be a suite of tools. There's a suite of tools that are necessary to be able to do this, to compile this code, to set these things up. And so we need to install that first. It doesn't always come installed by default on your system. And so because this is such a common task, there are packages that have made this easy. So there's two different ways to do this. On Ubuntu, and I have to Google this every time, but I'm gonna YOLO this from memory right now. On Ubuntu, there is a build essentials. There's a build essentials package that will give you all the tools that you need. There are a number of things involved in that. Gotta go eat. I understand. Go eat. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming through. Thank you so much for the raid. Go get some good food. And if it's really that good, send some my way, because I want to be starving after this and I don't know what I'm going to get. All right. So in Ubuntu, I think it's called Build Essentials. And I'm going to try this. Hold on. Apt Install Build-Essentials. No, okay. I have to Google every time, and every time I'm like, I'm gonna try it, and then I'm gonna try it, and then I get it wrong every time. Ubuntu install, and we'll talk about what's in this Build Essentials package. All right, installing Build Essentials package. What is it? How to install it? And we can put this inside of. No S. I was close. This is the closest I've ever been. Yeah, Apt Install Build Essential. Man, that was close. Okay, so this has a bunch of stuff in it. Okay, there's a bunch of tools inside of it, and again, these are all developer tools that are going to allow us to be able to compile an application from source. There's some make tools. There's some GC stuff, but there's a bunch of different tools. It's a whole package of tools. And so on Ubuntu, Build Essentials is how you can do that. On Yum-based systems, let me see if I can remember this. I think it's Yum Group Install. Build. I'm just gonna try this again. Okay. Yum, I never remember either. Let's see. Yum Group Install Development Tools. Now, see, you do stuff, then you don't remember it. But development tools is what it's called here, which is probably a little bit easier. Group install development tools, and so I'll just take this right here, and we'll go ahead and install. That's not what I copied. And I'll just type it in. Development tools. And look at all these different tools that it installs. Same thing. It's a whole pack of different tools needed to be able to do this kind of development, and it's pretty large. So, like fortunately, I'm doing this from a cloud instance, and so it should install and download pretty quickly. But those are the tools that are generally needed. Sometimes a tool will give you additional tools to install to be able to properly compile it for your system. I think NeoVim is one that does do that as well. And so we can go ahead and we can look at that. So first I'll share this with you. So make sure you have, I think I already shared it, but I'll share it again. And I'll go down to the documentation where it has install from package pre-built. And I think you actually have to do this to get building NeoVim. You had to do this to get the most up-to-date thing, but they have this wiki page. So I'm gonna open up the wiki page. And cool, so the first thing they want you to do is to install build prerequisites. That's what we just did. They might have different prerequisites, so I'm gonna go look at that. But we're trying to understand the process of installing something from source. The first part is to install the prerequisites. Build essentials is probably it. Development tools is probably it. Let's see what their essentials might be for us. So they give us a list, tells me the requirements, and here's a command for Ubuntu and Debian that I can use to get what I need. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna copy it, and look at that, it's using apt. And they give you an apt get. Remember I told you that's same thing, it's okay. So I'm just gonna copy it. I know this to be safe. Don't always just copy and paste anything that you see. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna paste it right in there. And so for apt, you can install more than one package by just putting a space in between. So it's running apt get install, and it's installing Ninja build, get text, libtool, libtool bin, autoconf, automake, cmake, g++, pkg config, unzip, curl, and doxygen. Now, some of these tools are already available. You know that we've already used curl. I think unzip is on here. I think some of these other things are already on here. But this will ensure that we get everything set up. You can use scroll to open links in a new tab. Yeah, I forgot about that. If you click the scroll wheel on your mouse in the terminal, it will open up your terminal or in a web browser. I think in a web browser as well, you can use a scroll wheel and it will open up in a tab over here. Yep, I always forget about that, always. Cool, so we did that there. For CentOS or RHEL, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux or Fedora, we're gonna use Yum. So take a look at this. We're installing the same tools, it looks like. And a lot of them have the same name, which is nice. So let's go ahead, let's go over here. Type in yes to get that stuff installed. I'm gonna paste this in. And I'm gonna use Yum to get all these extra things installed as well. But look at that. I didn't even have to do anything. I could not find Ninja build. Okay, it didn't like that. If you're using autoconf compiling, okay. Well, it didn't like the Ninja build thing. We'll see if it still works or not. Sometimes that can be a problem, sometimes not, but it didn't like Ninja build. I'm gonna do a Yum update just to be, sure everything's good, even though we didn't do anything. Cool. It didn't like Ninja build, but everything else was already installed, so that was nice. It didn't have to install anything. Everything over here looks like it installed no problem. Over here we got the Ninja build that doesn't exist inside of the repositories. My guess for this is that CentOS 9 is pretty new. I bet that they don't have a release for CentOS 9 set up, and so something that we could probably install if we need to. If we run into any issues, we'll get it installed. Okay, so we were able to grab our prerequisites. Now, here's what we do. Don't worry about this git clone command. You don't need to know what git clone does. You don't need to know all about git yet. But this is going to basically take the code, take the source code. It's going to download it to the system that we're trying to install this on. So I'm going to do this from the home folder. So we learned about the home folder. The easiest way to get there is type in CD and hit enter. And we know that the shortcut here is the tilde. So you can go CD tilde if you want, or just type in CD and hit enter. And it's gonna take you to the home folder of the user you're logged in as. I'm the root user. So if we look at where I am, I'm in the /root directory. And I'm gonna paste in this git clone command. Again, git is it's a tool to help. It's a source control management tool. It's a tool to help developers be able to develop, to work on code together, but being in distributed places. It's pretty cool. And so I'm gonna do this. What this does is it downloads this stuff. You can also just download it, but just use the git clone command. It's a little bit easier for right now, but it's gonna download all the files. It's gonna download the entire code base that we need to get this installed with. Okay, so I'll do the same thing over here on my Ubuntu system. I did it in the wrong place. Let's go back to where I need to be. And I'll clone it over here. All right, so after we clone it, okay, we'll need to CD into it and run the make command. So let's do that, and let's learn about that command a little bit. So I'm gonna CD into the NeoVim folder. So you can see NeoVim folder was downloaded. I'm gonna move into it. So CD, change directory into the NeoVim folder. And we can take a look at what's in here. There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, cool. And I'll let that go over here. And let's look at this make command. I am using WSL, yes, Danny Crane, but I'm SSH'd into some Linode instances. So I'm in an Ubuntu server and I'm in a CentOS 9 server. So I'm not, this is not local to my WSL2 instance. I downloaded Bash through Brew to have the latest version. That allowed me to keep all my other stuff from CSH without transferring. Dope. That's awesome. Nice. I'm glad that worked out. Also, hey MB, good to see you. Okay, so let's make. Let's look at the manual file for make. Make GNU make utility to maintain groups of programs. So the make utility will determine automatically which pieces of large program need to be recompiled and issue commands to recompile them. Okay, so this is going to be basically the initial command that's going to go through, and it's going to start getting things ready and set up. It's going to start identifying things that need to be compiled and set up for us to actually make this application usable for our machine. And so if you look at the commands that they gave us, this is the second step. So there's a lot of stuff to get us to here, but the first step to being able to install something from source is to install all the prerequisites. That's probably just your build tools or development tools. The second step is to get the source code. So download it in some way, like get the source code that you need. All right, and so once you download it, you go into that directory. The third thing that you need to do is run a make. Okay, so you're gonna run a make from the root folder of that thing. So I'm gonna run a make. Oh, got an error. CMake command not found. This might be because of the Ninja build. Hold on, that's weird. So let's do it over here and let's resolve. We can see if we'll resolve that while this is running. So I'm gonna go into NeoVim over here. And I'm gonna make over here and check that out. It's starting to do everything that it needs over here. It's gonna go through a lot of things, okay? And kind of get things set up and ready to go. Over here, I think this didn't work because of CMake command not found. We installed development tools, we should be fine. The only thing that didn't work when we tried to install everything is the Ninja build. And so here's what we can do. Unable to find match Ninja build. I bet that's a problem. I'm gonna type in install Ninja build CentOS 9. Simple enough. And so we can probably just grab the RPM and install it ourselves without having to update anything. So I'm gonna take Ninja build. Let's take this. Open link a new tab. And I'll grab the binary package. So I'm gonna grab this here. So we've already done this today. So this shouldn't be new to you. What? Oh. So wget-o ninja.rpm. I'm gonna paste it. All right, and then I'm gonna yum local install ninja. Okay. The -o didn't work right. So problem, conflicting requests. Ninja build does not have compatible architecture. Oh, I didn't look at the architecture. That was a problem. What is this for? I need x86. This is what I need, right? What did I copy? Oh, Arch64. Yes, I need this. Okay, wrong file. Also wrote ninja.build. What did I do? Oh, ninja.build. I think this is the right one. What's here? Oh, what? Okay, let me just grab this one. rm-rf ninja star wget-o, not wget. Actually, I'll just wget it. Didn't we install wget over here? We did. All right, so what did it remove? Did it remove anything when I did the rm command? Okay. All right, what did it just download? x86. Okay, so I will do yum local install there we go. Okay, so now I chose the right architecture for my system, and I'm gonna install Ninja build. And now if I run make, if I run make again, didn't work. Okay, cmake. Oh, I should have seen that. Cmake not found. That should have been in DevTools though. Yum cmake not found. Force it to use cmake 3. Do I have cmake 3? Let's see. cmake 3 package installed on your machine. Alternatives to the command. Actually, let's see. No. Ah, we do. Let's see. I wonder. This is so weird because I'm almost positive cmake's verse. Well, but like, wait. Hold on. I typed that, but where did I type it? Oh, that's fine. Even though, it's almost a bad word. Oh, but that's fine. We installed the right tool. We were able to get the right one. You are correct. I did it. I did a terrible typing job here. But this is what we needed, and this did install the Ninja build as we were supposed to, but cmake is the problem. Cmake should definitely be a part of the dev tools. And so let's you know what we're gonna do before we even try anything crazy. Okay, we'll just install cmake like this. That seems super weird to me. Cmake should definitely be a part of the yeah, weird. Okay, well, here we go. It was that easy to just install cmake, and there we go. But if you can look for this, you can see how it goes through, and it starts to determine what's there already and what needs to be set up. So it starts doing some things to kind of figure out what dependencies and things need to be handled, what things need to be recompiled, what things need to be set up. Okay, and it's getting things ready for a command that we're about to run called configure. And actually, that's generally the case. Make is usually the first command you run. This might be different because let's actually see what they have. Oh yeah, so there's a little bit different. And maybe we should we'll mess with something maybe we'll build something after this that runs a normal process. So there is a standard, there's kind of a standard build from source process. This is close to the build process, but it is a little bit different. Make is the first command you're gonna run. The second command that you usually run is a /configure. You run a configure command. What this does is this is going to actually take all these things. It's going to get all your dependencies set up and dependencies installed and stuff. This usually takes a little bit of time to get everything to run through and get all set up and get all fixed, and it gets everything ready to be installed onto your system. Gets everything and it puts it kind of into place. And then there's this make install command, which is going to move everything into a place that's going to make so the thing's already built, it's already executable, but this install is going to install it into a location on your computer that's easily usable. And so that's the process. It is get your prerequisites to be able to build something, and you don't have to do that once. You don't have to do that every single time. Generally, you don't have to do that once, and you'll have your tools forever. Then you make sure you download the files that you need. You run a make, a configure, and then an install. A make, a configure, and install. Make, configure, install. Usually, this is a little bit different, and it skips a little step here, but it's all good. So the make goes through, it does all that setup, and once we it's still going over here on the Yum side, so you can see how long it takes to kind of run through this. And then all we got to do is just to show you that we don't have anything installed yet. In the command nvim, it doesn't work. Neovim, the command doesn't work. But now if we do a make install, because that is what the so there's some options here for us to change things if we want, but make install is what we're gonna do here. What's up, Mally Fractal? Good to see you. And so I'm gonna do, wait, am I in the right place? Oh, gotta spell it right. Install, not, okay. There we go. And now when I do make install, you can see here it's installing these things in the proper location. And now if I type in nvim, look at that. The application is now working. So we were able to take the source code and we were able to compile it for our system and get it installed where it needs to be installed. We'll let this finish and we'll let that go. While that's running, let me do something with a more standard. Like I said, I think we always do Ruby. So let's do Ruby, GitHub. Yeah, and I think we normally just do it like this. And so I'll share this with you if you want to do it. Yeah, I mean, what's up, Mark? Yeah, I mean, installing from source, it gets easier. You can run into problems, but yeah. What's the difference between apt install and neovim? Okay, great question. So apt install is using the package manager apt to be able to install neovim. And so it's only going to install what is a part of what's already configured inside and already packaged up for it's only going to install what's available in the package manager repositories. The newer versions aren't always available. And so neovim, all of the cool features come in the nightly build because they haven't moved everything into the main build. And so you actually have to, if you want the newer features, you actually have to compile it from source. So you can get the latest source code and be able to compile it. So there's no real difference. It's just there are times, we're trying to learn a little bit more about Linux. There are times when the program that you need or the version that you need is not available through yum install. So yes, you could, for this application, you could simply yum install neovim and it would be good. It would give us a different version though. It would definitely give us a different version than we have now. This is gonna give us a newer version. I can actually show you that, right? Well, I don't wanna remove it, but if I installed, watch this. If I do, that gave me, let's see.
Starting narrator.
Whoa. I started a narrator and I don't know how to turn.
Narrator dialog, close, button, Alt plus C. Narrator dialog.
What? Oh, okay. That was weird. That was weird. So this gave me neovim version 0.8.0 dev when I installed it from source with the latest source code. Watch this. If I go over here, I don't have NeoVim installed, I don't think. Yeah, I don't. And if I do apt install NeoVim, sudo apt install NeoVim, if I do that, it will likely give me a different version, but it does install it just fine. Oh, NVim. And look, that gives me version 0.4.3 as opposed to 0.8.0. And so again, it's just the version that's in the package manager, we don't have control over that. And so there's no difference in when we actually install it using that, there's no difference, but and being able to install from source allows us to get, you know, newer versions or things specific to what we want. Yeah, so over here, we'll go ahead and do our make install. Over here, it'll do the same thing. And now we have NVim installed over here, which is super nice. Same versions, same build, because we built off of the same source code, which is nice. Do they update the package manager when a version becomes stable? Generally, yes, but sometimes not immediately. Sometimes it might take, you know, a few days or weeks to make that happen. So generally, yes, things get updated in the package manager as things become stable, but sometimes it lags behind just a bit. So good question there as well. Real quick, I just want to do Ruby just because it's a little bit more standard of a process, and I just want you to kind of see what it's like. So I'm going to grab the Ruby source code here. And I'm going to go back to my home directory. I'm going to run the git clone. It's going to download this Ruby folder for me. And yeah, the Ruby source code is pretty big. Usually takes a while. And after we do this, we'll be out of here. Pretty fast. It's going, you know, pretty quickly. Man, I can't tell y'all how, like, when we used to do, before I started 2PC streaming, like, and I'm in the cloud right now, so this wouldn't affect it, but I can't tell you how many times I, like, broke the stream by downloading large files, like, and, like, it was like, oh, I can't figure out what's happening. Like, my internet's pretty fast. Like, why is it dying? And it's like, well, dude, you're downloading 3 gigs worth of stuff in the middle of the stream. Of course it's going to die. And so, yes, Ruby takes a little bit. Come on. Give me what I need. Because we're trying to get up out of here. We didn't do any drawing today. I really got to start using this. Rookie mistake. Definitely a rookie mistake. 100% a rookie mistake. But, you know, you live, you learn. Kinda. I dealt with it for a long time. I thought 2PC streaming seemed so difficult to me, and it seemed very expensive because you need 2 PCs, but I always have had a desktop and a laptop, so it's like, dang, you know, I thought about this the wrong way. Thought about this the very wrong way. All right, Ruby, you're going to have to hurry up because the problem is I feel bad about this. If I cared more about Ruby itself, I'm not a Ruby lover. Does anybody out here do any like Ruby on Rails stuff? I have a laptop. You have a laptop that I can borrow. That's my laptop, sir. You have my laptop that you can return to me. It's broken. I understand it's broken. You didn't break it, but you know, we'll get it fixed. It's a nice laptop. Actually, if you're done with it, I will take it. If you're done with it. So with Go, I can have a file that has a script with all of my Ubuntu settings. What do you mean? I can have a file that's a script with all of my Ubuntu settings. With Go, I'm not sure what you mean. I'm about to get the work laptop, so yeah, I give it back. Whatever. It don't work. I don't really need it. What do you mean, Julian? If you want to have, there are ways to script up all of your Ubuntu, like if you have Ubuntu customizations and stuff, there are ways to script it. You can bash script. So basically, what if I connect to multiple devices remotely and I don't have any of the apps? Yes. Good question. That's a great question. So you have a couple different options for doing this. So if you connect to multiple devices remotely and you want to be able to have the apps that you're used to, there's a couple different ways you can handle managing this. One way is with basic bash scripts. So you can write a bash script that will basically install everything that's needed. So yeah, this is cool, but like it can be problematic if you work on different types of systems and stuff. Like it can be problematic. The way that you probably want to do this is with a tool called Ansible. Ansible is probably your best choice for doing something like this. And basically, you write these little blocks of configuration and say, hey, I want Golang installed, and I want NeoVim installed. I want these things installed, and Ansible is actually smart enough to look at your computer and say, oh, this is Red Hat. I know that I need to install it this way. I know the package for this is called this, as opposed to Ubuntu where it's called this. And so I would look at Ansible for that. You can probably do it with, I'm sure you can do it with Go. I think it would be much harder. A bash script would probably be the easiest, but it would give you a little bit less flexibility. And Ansible, I would look into Ansible. It's pretty dope. I think we're gonna do some Ansible in here later, like a couple weeks from now. What's up, Pylang? Good to see you. Okay, so Ruby took forever to download, but I'm gonna go into it. All right, so here's all of Ruby's source code here. There's a lot of stuff here, a lot of C files, a lot of C files, a lot of C files, a lot of C files. Okay, and so first command. So I remember I said download what you need. We already have our build essentials, so we should be good here. Download the source code, which I just did. Then make it. No targets. Hold on. I might need to. I probably should have read this. How to build this. There's probably a file that I need to be in, or maybe they have scripts that work for me. But I think I can. Whack. Hold on. Let me see. Build. Let's see. Ruby homepage. Subscribe. Ruby build from source. Let's see. Installing Ruby. Installers, Ruby build, building from source. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. Configure. That was dumb. Configures first. I got thrown off. I got thrown off by the NeoVim install, and because they ran make first, like in my mind. Yeah. See, this is the problem when things are different. But yeah, sorry. Configures first. So you want to configure first. What's up, Gadudis? I'm good. How are you doing? I'm not great. I'm good though. I'm definitely good. Am I still on the main configure? No. What does it want me to be? Building from source. Download. Unpack tarball. Then move right into it. It does not like, I'm right in there. Maybe the tarball is different. So here's what we'll do. Copy link address. I don't think the tarball is gonna be different from the source code, but I'm just gonna have to assume they're telling the truth. Now y'all are getting to see a little bit extra Linux stuff. We'll clear this out. We'll wget the tarball. We'll tar dash xvf ruby.tar.gz. I hit enter. I broke everything. I don't know what happened. My computer froze because I was moving too lightning quick. I was moving so fast. What's up, SJ Fields? Shout out. Oh, there we go. We're tarring it. So a tar file, tar.gz, is an archive file, but it's also compressed. It's gzipped. Think about it like a zip file. So basically, I just unzipped that command that I ran. This basically unzipped this application for me. Is basically what it did. What's up, SJ Fields? Let me give you a shout out here. SJ Fields is dope. You all should say hello. You also should give SJ Fields a follow as well. So you got too many underscores. I'm a bad typist. I'm a bad typist. Oh, what? Hold on. That was dumb. I didn't do the SO. See, not a pro, just a hobbyist. There we go. But good to see you. Thanks for coming through. And yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm really glad to be back. So what that did is it basically just it unzipped this directory for me. So I'm gonna move into it. All right, so that's different. And I'm gonna go /configure. There we go. So I had to use the tarball instead. So /configure is gonna be the thing that is going to get everything set up. It's telling me what I have. /configure is gonna handle the dependencies for me. And so it's gonna tell me what I have, what I need, what I got to figure out. Then make is going to recompile the things that need to be recompiled and set all that up for me. Glad I'm not the only one secretly harboring _hate. Yeah, I'm a bad typist. What's up, Gilbert Grenade? Yeah, I'm not it's not the character that I hate most, but I'm not a big fan. I should probably rename the account again. Don't do it. Not on the account of me. I'm becoming a better typist. I'll get better. It's your name. Okay, I'm gonna call you by your name. Just don't change it on the account of me being a bad typist. Got these fat fingers, man. All right, so configure went through and got everything set up. Let me know what I needed to, I needed access to, what I needed to get set up. So configure first. Sorry, I said that wrong before. Download the file. Download the files that you need. Configure it first. So /configure. Then make install. And so I'll do make. And now it's going to go through and do what it needs to do. And so if we go back to this is often what you'll see from building from source. It seems so difficult, and it can be difficult because you can run into problems with missing packages, with missing dependencies, stuff that you saw us with happen with Yum. And so it can be scary to do, but at its core, it's actually pretty simple. Take the files, take the source code, configure, make install is usually all you need. It can take a little while sometimes. And so we'll let that go. I'll let it run for a little bit. I should have showed you that Ruby wasn't installed. It's definitely not installed over here, but I'm not gonna install it over here. I'll let it go over here. But it is not installed, I don't think. And before I do an install, I'll check. And so this could take a lot of time, especially you can compile faster by if you have multi-cores and stuff, you can do some fancy stuff with your cores. And yes, it can be fun, but also slow. As you can see here, it was a lot quicker before, but I'm gonna let it keep going. So if you have any questions about anything, ask away, because we have a little time now. We're gonna see this install through. Okay, yeah, this server only has one core. It might be hyper-threaded though, but I doubt it. They're gonna. I actually want to check on that for virtualization. When they're gonna give you one vCPU, is that generally a vCPU that's can it be hyper-threaded? Is it hyper-threaded usually? I don't know. So that you mentioned cores, we could. What are some red flags that a company is going to shut down? That's a hard one. I've seen companies shut down and be completely blindsided that they were shut down. I've never been in a company that shut down on me. I got some rumblings and I left one because I heard it was shutting down, and literally like a month later they let go of most of their engineers. I don't think they shut all the way down though. It can be, I would say that obviously, reduction in workforce is going to proceed to shut down usually. So if you see departments getting cut, you see a substantial amount of people getting cut. Layoffs can be a sign. A lot of it's that, and shifts or exits in management, lots of exits in management might be a sign as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a pro there. I haven't been in a lot of places that shut down. I've seen companies that didn't let anyone go and called everyone in and was just like, hey, we're gonna give everybody this final severance, but we're out of here. We're done. I have seen that before. Very fortunate to never have been a part of it. But do your research when joining the company. Kind of, ask about. I would ask about you know, are you all financially solvent right now? I'm about to join this company. Like, what are you, well, you know, what are we looking like? What are we good to go? Are there any concerns here? But I would ask, I would definitely ask about some of those things, because if they lie to you, you might have yourself a case. You might have yourself a good case, you know, to work with. But it's okay to ask those questions. Hey, you know, you seem like a small company, you seem like a medium-sized company, and maybe in a market that's kind of tough. Like, you know, how can I be confident we're not gonna go under in a year? Ask away, seriously. Is there such an option to install, like, let's say sudo install random map all cores? I don't think so. I don't think that you can specify, because so when you're installing via apt, it's not compiling the code. It is taking those kind of preset deb packages to be able to get installed. So I doubt it. I highly doubt it. All Intel cores are hyper-threaded, but our vCPU cores, I don't know if vCPU cores are actually cores. It seems, yeah. I think that's more so my question. Not necessarily they're hyper-threaded, but are vCPU cores, like when companies are giving you a, you know, one vCPU, one virtualized CPU, is that an actual core? Most software is optimized for max 4 cores anyways, yeah. Curious, why are you building from source versus just installing from package manager? Only because we're just learning how to install from source. Only reason, we're just learning how to manage packages in Linux. We learned how to install things via the package manager. There are times where you'll run the packages that aren't available via your package manager, whether it be the version or just the application isn't available at all. So we're just learning how to compile from source. Right now we're just compiling Ruby, just because we compiled NeoVim first, but NeoVim is slightly it's slightly non-standard because there's no configure. There's just a make and a make install, and they use some extra build tools. We're trying to do an application that's a little more standard, and so Ruby has a very standard build from source workflow: configure, make install. So we're just doing that. It's taking forever, and maybe we'll maybe we'll stop soon. But we're already at the S's. We're configuring. We're already at the S's. We got it. You know, that's got to be a sign that we're close to where we need to be. What have you seen software devs or engineers get fired for besides missing work or our meetings, make too many mistakes? I have only seen one person ever let go for poor performance, and it wasn't necessarily because their performance was bad. It was because the team's performance was bad, and they were the only contractor on the team, and there was a change that was required to be made, so the contractor got let go. I've never seen anyone be fired for being bad, which is, you know, I've seen people get put on performance improvement plans, but I've never seen anyone be fired for being bad. I take that back. I've never seen an engineer be fired for being bad. I've seen a scrum master be fired for being bad. But I have seen people be fired for not trying, for really like genuinely just not showing up for a little while and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen many I've seen very few engineers be fired. Really. Like, I think if you show up and you try, you're mostly good to go. You don't even have to try super hard. I know people hate to hear that. I shouldn't say that out loud. But yeah, for being bad, like making too many mistakes, like maybe if you make the same mistake over and over again, but like, I don't know. You might get put on a PIP. I haven't seen anyone be fired before, for bad stuff. Is your vCPU question about a specified cloud provider? I guess that's how it would. I'm assuming it's different amongst different cloud providers. So right now, we're dealing with we're dealing with Linode. So I have no idea. But yeah, just a general question. Maybe I would want to know for everybody. Like, hey, is Amazon's vCPU an actual CPU core? Is Azure's? I don't know. Amazon EC2 instances support multi-threading, which enables multiple threads run concurrently. So that sounds like represented. Each thread is represented as a virtual. Ah, there we go. Thank you. That's AWS. Is it? Oh, it's AWS Tyler, not all Styler. There we go. That makes sense. Thank you for providing me that. That's helpful. So each thread. So they're using each thread as a CPU core, which is helpful. That's super helpful to know. Each thread is representing as a virtual CPU on the instance. Phenomenal. That's what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. Have you ever had a boss threaten to blacklist you from the industry? No, I haven't. I haven't had anyone threaten me at all. I've threatened somebody, that sounds terrible. But no, I've never had anyone threaten to blacklist me from the industry. And I mean, I don't really know how anyone would. Like, so maybe if you're like in the Silicon Valley space, maybe if you're in the FANG company space, like that could happen. There's too many companies. Like, I don't understand how someone could blacklist you from the industry. It doesn't. Yeah, I guess you could, like, maybe like if you were like in the fintech industry or something, maybe. But like, I don't know. There's so many jobs out there, so many different industries. I don't know how someone could do it. I've walked away from jobs without saying anything. I've walked out of jobs because someone was disrespecting me heavily. Like, you shouldn't do that. That was young, early 20s Aaron. But yeah, I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do? I almost wish someone would approach me with that type of hostility. Blacklist me. Do what you got to do, playboy. We'll see how man, I almost want someone to threaten me with something like that. Like, I feel like you have an instant lawsuit on your hands. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm looking for a way to make a lot of money fast, and a lawsuit sounds like the way. Okay, lawsuit sounds like the way. Each VCUP thread or CP core except for T2 instances powered by AWS Graviton 2. Okay, cool. Thing about Gov is, as long as you're not messing productivity, morale, then you're billable. Yeah, and it's still worth it to keep you on as long as there's a headcount needed. Yes, 100%. IT organizations and software companies are coming around to blameless postmortems with all the DevOps hype. Mistakes are a learning opportunity and system problem. So I used to think that stuff was dumb. I now find it to be very valuable and true. So this happened. The probably most exciting one was with GitLab. And GitLab, they ran into a big problem, and they were troubleshooting it live. Like they set up a stream and like all this other stuff, and they were very open and transparent about what happened. And like literally a pretty junior engineer had like dropped a production database table, and it's like yeah, that's a big mistake, but like why does that person who is not super knowledgeable about this stuff, why do they have access to be able to do the damage they just did? That's a system problem. That's an issue with the way that we have the processes that we put in place. And so like, let's figure out how to fix it, rather than let's focus on fixing it and focusing on making it never happen again. Now, I think some of it's a little bit of a show, but it is what it is. I do think that is a valuable way to look at things, and I think that's generally true. Like, we all make mistakes. Like, if you're able to take down the whole system, like, whose fault is it really? I feel like it's ours as as a whole. Yeah, went to the car show so I'll have you all know that I've told you the story before. When I quit that job and I walked out because that guy made me so angry, I told him I said, hey, I asked you to speak to. He was talking to someone older who I had conversations with before. He was like really yelling at this dude like he was a child. And I had told this guy about this before, and I was like 25, 26, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna punch you, so I'm gonna leave. Like, I'm gonna hit you. I can't believe you're disrespecting another human being like that right here. We already had this conversation. I'm leaving. I went to the car show, and I went to that car show with Got the Juice. So y'all see Got the Juice in chat? That's who I went to the car show with. I literally Walked out of work. He said, yo, like, hey man, y'all trying to go to the car show? And we went to the Washington car show, and it was great. And I had a new job within the week, which was pretty dope. But yeah, bank companies and most reputable companies have policies against retribution. It's not allowed. Yeah, as it should be, as 100%. That's how it should be. If you're just getting into the tech field and you have a degree in an unrelated field, is there a certain amount of disrespect crap that you have to take because you need experience? No. Crap. Like first off, if you're in any, well, it's okay. Actually, I take that back. It depends on what you consider crap. No disrespect, absolutely not. Crap. I mean, it depends on like, yeah, you might be giving like grunt work maybe, but like disrespect, absolutely not. If I'm telling you, there's enough good companies out here who will treat you well, that if you are in a place that's giving you crap or disrespecting you, now leave. Don't leave. Don't do what I did. Don't walk out. If you have responsibilities, you got people you got a rent or mortgage you need to pay, you have a family to take care of, don't do that. Get something lined up. There's enough opportunity in the industry. If someone gives you that first experience, you got experience on your resume now. That first job is the most important one. Just, having that on the resume. Hey, throw them on your resume. Go find something else. Go start looking for jobs. The day you feel disrespected purposefully, get out there. Now, I will say, in a work environment, you got to be able to deal with other people. There are going to be individuals that try to disrespect you because that's their nature. That doesn't mean the company's bad. I would spend some time learning how to navigate those situations. The better you can navigate situations like that, the better you'll be overall. And yeah, tell somebody, confront the person. Hey, like, why did you do that? Like, did you mean to do that? Maybe that person's having a bad day. And so, you got to figure out how to navigate that piece. But the moment you feel purposefully disrespected in a place, start looking, get out of there, don't let anyone disrespect you. That's my one pet peeve. Like, we're adults. Don't purposefully disrespect me. We can do whatever. We can have disagreements, whatever. As soon as you start actively and purposefully disrespecting me, you gotta leave. Gotta get out of there. The system is at fault for listening to me. Hey, that might be that might be it, but it's the system's fault. Yeah, there can definitely be gatekeeping for sure. It's 2 years a solid time to stay at a company, to look good on your CV. Yeah, I think nowadays 2 years is great. I'm telling y'all, look at my resume. Until recently, there was nothing over a year and like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. Yep. My boy, what are you doing here? So it's late and we're in the office, but my boy Alex, y'all seen Alex before. You're not fully in yet. There you go. My boy Alex just showed up in the office, just feeling good, talking about he's just coming from happy hour. Man, I'm jealous. But 2 years definitely long enough, for sure. People, that's about as long as people are staying nowadays, but I will say, if you're getting something out of the company, if you enjoy it, stay for as long as you're learning. Make sure you're learning. If your goal is to stay relevant in the industry, stay. You're given tasks commensurate with your experience. That isn't a sign of disrespect. It's making sure you can achieve your goals. I 100% agree. I do want to be clear about that. Again, everyone's idea of crap is different. Disrespect is one thing, but crap, like, yeah, you don't know yet what crap work is. Like, you haven't seen enough. You haven't done enough. So like, if it's just work you don't like doing, that doesn't mean it's crap. It might mean you're in the wrong industry, to be honest. That might be what the work is. But I agree. You're given tasks that are commensurate with your experience. I've worked a lot of places. And I haven't seen a lot of disrespect to people. I've seen bad fits. I've seen coworkers disrespect each other. But like, I haven't seen I've seen almost no like direct management disrespect, or people like really like, I don't know, really like digging into people who don't have a lot of experience. I haven't seen much of that at all. The people who get crapped on are like managers. Like managers are the ones that get disrespected. But like, yeah, as engineer, you'd be all right. I feel disrespected when I get we don't pay Fang money, but our hiring process is 7 interviews. Oh, I agree with you. No, 100%. Now, actually, hold on. Let me just make sure. Would it make install is the last thing we have to do? This will be fast, or should be fast. I'll let it go. But I agree with that. I do have a problem with that. I don't feel like a lot of people feel like everyone's like, oh, well, just pay me if you want to interview me. Again, we work in the Wild West. We work in an industry where people are willing to pay a lot of money for roles that don't have a real way to verify if you're good or not. We don't have any governing body. We don't have to take a test to determine whether or not we are equipped to do this thing. We don't have to go to school for this thing. And so I think there does need to be, I think it's okay for companies to vet us on these things. I absolutely don't think it needs to be more than 2 interviews. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you got to do. I do not think it needs to be more than 2 interviews. 100%. I'll die on that hill. It does not need to be more than 2 interviews. They can be pretty long interviews, and I understand. And I think they need to be upfront with you about what you're going to face to determine if you're willing to go through that, because this is significant time out of your life. This is money that you could be losing. Let's say you're doing contract work, whatever. They need to be upfront about it. But I 2 rounds, however long it needs to be, 2 rounds max, man. Like I don't understand if you can't figure out if this person is good or not, like in that amount of time, like good enough for your team. I just don't know why you need that much. I don't know why you need that much time, and like how expensive. Like it will be cheaper for you to just hire a recruiter and just bring somebody in. If they suck, just get rid of them and pay for somebody else. Like 7 rounds and paying people for that amount of time, like to interview multiple people, like that's so expensive. Like I don't get it. I don't get it at all. When I use the word crap, I was just using another word for purposeful disrespect towards a person's character. Yeah, don't put up with any of that. None of it. I don't. But again, I think the tech industry, in my experience, is a place where, for the most part, you're not going to get it. Now, in the government contracting space, you might get it a little bit from. I've seen govies. I've seen the feds be a little harsh, because there can be a more hostile environment over there a little bit, and there's a lot of bureaucracy on that end of things. So I've seen that, and I have seen the guy I told him I was gonna hit him. He was yelling at the guy because he got yelled at by our this is when I was at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He got yelled at by our client, and so he felt like he needed to yell at someone on the team. And so I have seen that in the government space. Lots of egos. Yeah, there's a lot of egos, but like I said, the individual interactions between like coworkers and other engineers and stuff, that's a toss up. That's a people problem. You can face that anywhere, any industry. But I think generally, the egos and disrespect, like on the management and company level, haven't been a big deal at all. So all of that to install Ruby. And now if I type in IRB, look at that. I'm in the Ruby interpreter, and I'm going to put a hello world. Oh man, now y'all know some Ruby as well. Boom, hello world. Okay. Now you all know how I feel about things. Hello world. But boom, there we go. Got Ruby installed. So download all the files that you need, configure them, make install is the general format for that. But I want you to understand the process of, if you are installing from source, that means you are installing from the source code of the application. You're taking the code that was written and you are compiling it to work on your computer. That is what it is. That's what you're doing. And again, the reasons why you would have to do this, or that you might have to do this, is if you need a version that's not a version of an application that's not available in your package manager like Yum or Apt, or if the application isn't available at all. in the package manager, you can go ahead and install it this way. So pretty much everything can be installed from source, but if you can, you probably want to install it through your package manager. So that's everything tonight. Package management, spent a lot of time. I hope you got something out of it. Take a look. Let me move over. I'm about to move over I posted those links in Camp Code. I've done this before. I will fix that right now so that you have the cheat sheets. There's a cheat sheet for Yum. There's a cheat sheet for Apt. There's also a cheat sheet for adding repos in both Debian-based distributions and Red Hat-based distributions, because the same way we added the PPA in Ubuntu, we could also add repos or repo mirrors and things in Yum. Same concepts. Gives your package manager a new place to look for packages. So yeah, this is how you install things. This is how you get stuff configured for installed on a system. This is how you remove things from a system. Pretty simple process. Might take you a little bit of time to get comfortable with it, but pretty simple. So I got bombarded with a bunch of stuff on my Can't Code classroom. Yes, MB, that was my fault. I think I figured out why though. Like, I'm not just completely doing it wrong. I think it has to do with a cookie issue when I have multiple classrooms open in the same browser. I think that even if I click to a new space, I think that like the cookies keep it so that if I go to upload something, even though if it looks like CamCloud, if I was working in the Linux thing, it'll upload it into the whatever was open before. So I'm gonna move everything. I'm gonna make it work. But Julian, thanks for coming through. You asked some good questions. Sorry, this one ran way over. My wife's probably extremely angry, but it's all good. Let's see who's online tonight. Let's see. Who are we gonna raid this? We should raid this person's nose. Medallion Stallion. Learning Python with Code Academy. That's what we always do. Oh, I will. She knows. I hope she's watching. Is she watching? All right, Mark. Peace out, bro. This person's learning Python, so that's great. So let's head over to Mifuri, because we're learning stuff too, and I like Code Academy. It's pretty dope. Raid on View. Hey, everyone! Ashley BR1. Her name came up a million times. That's my beautiful baby, and I never noticed it. It's literally her name and our last name. But that's my boo boo. So say hello to Miss Ashley BR1. I'll be home soon. Glad you're watching. Thanks for tuning in. Yo, and Steez, that's Alex right next to me. You all have seen him, and if you haven't seen him, you'll see him soon. We're gonna do some panels and stuff, and he better join. Nah, I'm joking. You can join or not. But peace out, everyone. Go say hello to Mifuri, and I'll see you all another day. Peace out. Oh, actually, no stream on Monday because it's the holiday. Enjoy your extra day of the weekend. It's Memorial Day. If you're in the U.S., we won't be doing Camp Code on Monday, but we will be doing Camp Cloud on Tuesday. So peace out, everybody. See you later.